Do you wonder too? Were we meant for each other, but it just fell apart? Could we last forever if we start over?
Oh, this song just feels mysteriously appropriate because there's so many mysteries to be unraveled today. What is up, one and all? Welcome back to the channel. That's right, we're live on a Wednesday. Something special must be afoot. Well, for a start, we didn't do Tuesday because what the hell was the point when we were going to be stuck with the old patch stuff? And don't mind me as I just kick under my desk and almost make all of my spotlights go flying. I'm a genius like that. But we've got one hell of a busy day ahead of us. That's right, in T-minus 1 hour, we are going to be checking out a show match between some of the finest of the East and finest of the West in a team format. What a way to actually kick off the new patch. Not with 1v1s, but with team games. That's kind of wild. Love it. Looking forward to it. Mwah, chef's kiss. But we aren't done there. No. El Fantasimo requires even more for it to be that fantastic of a day, which is why in T-minus 3.5 hours, just a little bit under now, I have an incredibly huge announcement coming out. I am hyped. I'm excited. I'm also a little bit scared, but we'll get into that later on. You don't want to hang around. I can assure you, today is going to be full of a lot of hype moments. And on top of that, of course, we are going to look to be live tomorrow and Friday as well, because I've got to get the new content pumping. I just can't help myself, dude. I'm hungry for it, right? I see new expansion. I see Death of Siege. I need to see if it's true or if something inside of is just going to die a little. But yeah, so many things to happen this week. Also, on the weekend, I'll be casting Age of Mythology, so I'll be involved in that for the next few weekends. I believe I got about 4-5 days I can be doing. But in the weekdays, you guys, of course, will be able to catch me here. Goal is going to be to start putting out a schedule on Twitter, probably Sunday or Monday. I want to try to get back to that habit. And I think we'll be targeting Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday again, because I quite like those days. Also leaves Wednesday for me to sort everything in between. It's also a great day for me to go bouldering and spend over 3 hours breaking my body to get to the point that I am built like a truck. Dude, I'm actually already impressed by how much I can actually do on bouldering. I've been like 8 times and I'm doing third hardest grade in the gym, which is crazy. And hello, Kendricks, I see you there. Whoop, whoop. Oh. Just responding behind the scenes. Yeah, I do need to get myself an editor. Why so much echo? Is there echo? What echo are you talking about? Let's have a look. What echo are you talking about? Let's have a look. Dude, leave. We got to talk about your setup. All right, what's gonna happen is probably about a month's time. I'm gonna actually show you the way to upgrading your system. Month and a half tops, and then you'll follow my guide. You'll get all the pieces, and then you'll never have a problem with your audio ever again. Either that, or it's actually to do with your biological hardware and your ears are failing you. I can't help as much for that, but maybe I can find a sponsor there. I was figuring about 10 years, I'd go for adult diapers anyway. They're more efficient. If I get in there early, I'll be able to help you out with that. It's the retirement home for all of us age-of gamers, right? But let's hop on to Age of Empires. I want to cast 1 or 2 pub games before we get into the show match action, which is going to kick off in about 55 minutes. Clearman, for those that didn't know what the hell's happening, Clearman has come in clutch again. Dude, the guy loves actually committing as much money as possible with the game. So we've got, I think it's $120 or $150 show match between Vietnam and Team America. That's right, North America is coming together. You've got Puppy Paw, Wham, Jigglypuff, and Mr. Munch going up against Vietnam's finest. That's likely going to be, he didn't actually send me the names, but if I had to guess, it's probably going to be Mio Micah in there. Vuvo Van comes to mind. Kyo could also be a runner. Lumber. There's a few different people there. Like the Vietnamese guys go hard and they go strong. There's like eight of them that are tippity top when it comes to team games. But for now, I figured we'd have a look in. Okay, let's see who we've got live on the ladder. So give me a sec, because I'm starting the game up now. You know how I am. I like to check the ladder live. If that fails us, we have got the likes of Wham, who played a bunch of games like 12 hours ago, so he might have ran into someone. It's quite funny looking at the top of the leaderboard, because like you guys remember Scatterbrain. He's ranked 4th in the world right now. Now, we can talk about the technicalities of that being because most people haven't done their seeding games yet, but I like to focus on the positive. Shut up, he's ranked 5 in the world. Give it to him. 8 wins, 5 losses, 1,750 elo. Not bad. So, oh wait, I got ads playing because I'm too cheap to get Spotify. Spotify ain't cheap, guys. So, looking at his data now, actually, he's been up against some big boys. Core, Dumu, all these people. Already made the announcement? No. Once again, check your hearing. Of course we haven't made the announcement. What would be the fun in giving the announcement at the beginning of the broadcast? Because then you just walk away. This way, you're like, whoa, where's he going to drop it? I mean, I already said exactly when I'm going to drop it. But let's have a look in game quickly, and we're going to see if we can find maybe something fresh on the ladder. Because remember, guys, we are now into Season 9. Dun, dun, dun. I know, I can't believe it's already here. Dude, I'm so excited to see how the meta's going to evolve now. It's kind of crazy. So, let me just quickly check live. Because the tricky part here is you've got to be careful because you might see a well-known name, but they're probably going to be up against someone you've never heard of before because it is the beginning of the ranked season, which is why I'm so grateful we've got this show match later. I might try to look about organizing a tournament series between 2 known players tomorrow, maybe. If I can get them cheap, I'll look to do some of Thursday and Friday. I think it's just better content. I've talked about this before, that I think pubs don't make that great of a content when you have pro-level content proper comparative. Sorry. So I was like, yeah, editors are really expensive. I'm like, well, it depends where you find them. So we have got a few known players in game, but it looks like they haven't got any, like, you know, tight matchups right now. Voldemort versus Core just ended. Yeah, so we could try to see if they're going to queue into each other again. Alternatively, we could look at maybe Scatterbrained versus... Oh, God, I just realized there's a deli mirror. We don't want to do that. There are worse ways to ruin your day. But there are also better ways. So I think what we can do... Louis been playing a bunch as well. Let me double-check his data. Because I'm curious who he's gone up against. Wham was immediately in there grind timing it last night, but I think ranked wasn't out, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken. He's already showing a rank. So let me just double check his as well. I don't know what's been with AoE4 World recently. AoE4 World's been a little bit slow. But like, we'll keep an eye on this in case it ends up being Voldemort and Core. It looks like, oh, guys, we might be able to catch some Voldy versus Core because they're both in lobby right now. So we wait a second. We might be in luck. The alternative is we could look at Louis versus Core from 2 hours ago. There's also Louis versus Dumu from 3 hours ago, and there's Louis versus Wham from 19 hours ago. Dude, are we about to have a Louis-thon? We might. The only risky part about it in these live matches is if they end up being too long, we're going to have to cut them short to go into the show match. Do we just, like, go for the replay, maybe? The replay could be a big W, actually. I forgot Haywire's in ranked matchmaking now, isn't it? That's crazy. I mean, I'm excited for that. I actually think Haywire was, like, underplayed. I thought it was a very intriguing map, but you didn't get to see it in its entirety. It does seem memeful because you're so close together that you can kind of rush. And I think that's maybe, like, why we didn't see it get an introduction to pro play or whatnot. But Voldemar just popped as online. Core is searching. So I think they might... I can't remember. That only happens when they actually aren't in lobby, right? Because I know sometimes when you're transitioning from in-lobby to in-game, it can do funky things. I don't think that's what's happened here, though. So with that in mind, I think what we'll do is we will go to Louis M. Teasdale. In fact, let me copy and paste his name because I can't remember if he's called Louis now, if he went with the... Oh, no, he did. Nice guy Louis did revert his name back to something readable for an ignorant English pig like myself. I have so much energy today. Something good happened, or are you just excited for the new season? I mean, something good is gonna happen. It damn well better be good. Or maybe it just happens to be that I've got enough caffeine in my system thanks to our sponsor, Protein Works. Wow, look at that. We brought it back round. Should hopefully have some good news on that front, actually. I'm going to be talking to them later today. We might have them coming back for a 5th month. Woohoo! Okay, so let's have a look here. Yo, what's up, Podcaster Chris? Thank you very much for the Prime sub. Welcome to the Swarm, buddy. Good to have you back again. So let's have a look. We wanted to do... Was it Louis versus Wham? I think we were eyeballing. We're doing like those Looney Tune eyeballs, you know? So we are in luck because Louis has done the marathon. Wham, Dumu, and Core. Guy's busy, dude. Looking forward to that announcement. Oh yes, as am I. I mean, you crap it a little bit, right? But you know, like yeah, it was up. I think, like to me, I visualize it as a big deal. It's a big deal for me, but I also think it's a big deal for a lot more people. It's a smart move, I think, with what we've done. But I'm loading up Wham versus Louis now, so we'll kick off with that. And then in 45 minutes, it should be about time to start the show match. So they'll be getting the draft. But let me switch over now. And oh, I've got to disable the team trims. Boink. Season 9 has arrived. And oh my god, they buffed the movement speed to double it. No, I'm kidding. Welcome back to Age of Empires 4 Action, folks. It is time. We've been waiting for this. Season 9 has just kicked off. Some huge changes to an oppressive and unlike part of the gameplay, that being Siege, but also big changes to both of these civs, which are being wielded by some of the very best in Age of Empires 4. In the pink, playing as the Zhuji, we have got Wham, first of his name. The Canadian legacy, going up against the Chinese prodigy kid, looking to master the Asia Minor region here with the Ottomans in the hands of Team Elephant's Louis MT. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup, guys, because both of these civs got, I think, quite drastic changes. The change to Zhuji was a little bit more subtle, and that was to do with the fact that they now actually have buff cavalry with the attack speed, which comes into effect in multiple phases of the game. And then there's the Ottomans, who got, what was it, 4 additional Vizier Council options added. One of them giving you a great bombard potentially in the Dark Age, which is wild, by the way, but also them getting their hands on a brand new unit in the form of Cav Archers. I wonder if we're going to see him in our first game on Season 9. Let's find out. Interesting map as well for Ottomans, because historically they have been good for this reason. Sultani Trade Network, of course, an absolute classic for them, because you typically get the corner trades on Hill and Dale. And on top of that, it has just proven more effective on maps where you have nearby food. And with the deer being this close to your TC, you don't need the Madrissa as badly as you normally would. Adding into that, we have got some early spearmen coming out, just trying to pressure onto the Zhuji. Makes sense, as they're typically going to try to be a little bit more greedy on most maps of the Meditation Garden. In this situation, it hasn't quite worked out that way for Louis. Wham decided to play it safe at the back. He actually got the beautiful berry wood. It feels like about 90% of the time you're going to get berries near some tree line. It's just a case of whether it's going to be the big one or the small. But this should be pretty good overall, right? 36 food and probably about 25 wood. Spinman, of course, were for free, but I think we talked about this before in this channel. I remember I talked about this with Crackety when we were on EGC's broadcast, right? In the middle of a tournament game. It just doesn't feel that great to do these military school plays, right? Not for the harassment anyway, because you could just have a quicker feudal. So I think the way you could make this worthwhile is when you come back afterwards to shove the deer in. The unfortunate detail, though, is unlike different maps, like Dry Arabia, there's no secondary deer push, right? You could technically shove the deer all the way from here. You would be potentially out of your mind or just a genius before his time. So let me know who you think is going to win this one, guys. Like, whether you're watching this live or later, I always love people to do this. One's if you think it's going to be Juji. Two's if you think it's going to be Otmans. There's nothing wrong with being wrong, all right? Like, you know, a little bit of egg on your face. No, it's not even that. You have an educated guess. Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. That's a beautiful thing. I do it in the casting as well, right? The beautiful thing is figuring out why. Why on earth am I seeing this? Not Thirsty Sips with the sub. I appreciate that, buddy. 16 months. What an absolute legend. I'm more concerned about the fact we're seeing Song Dynasty this early. Kind of makes sense for a map like Hillendale, but also feels a little bit gluttonous against a Civ that tends to come online in that Castle Age. Yeah, and the archery range doesn't make much sense of it either, guys, because like if this was about Zhuge Nu, you wouldn't need a Jiangnan in the first place. That, by the way, is an insane amount of food. 16 sheep. He's got the deer as well. Other side of this, it's only 11 sheep, but keep in mind Louis can get his hands on the Vizier point that will give him the additional sheep. So not the end of the world for him. I'm wondering if we are going to get those Cav Archers. Like, it doesn't feel like it, right? Like, if this is going to be Cav Archers, no, it's going to be 2 TC. So if it was going to be Cav Archers, you would have seen him build something to replicate, like to amplify rather his Vizier council points, right? You obviously need to go for the other things, like he just went for the Anatolian Hills here to get the extra sheep, but realistically, you'd be adding in active production if you want to go for that. And no, Crackety, you're just going to have to watch on your terrible mobile data, which you usually blame for you losing against Core. So look forward to that. Hopefully you don't lose out and miss out on the... Oh, wait, no, yeah, it's GMT, mate. Chill, you're fine. Yeah, second TC coming online just makes a lot of sense here. Like, you'd normally think this is bad against Zhuji, but if you think your opponent's going second TC, this isn't China. They don't get as much value out of the second TC play as the Chinese do. However, instead, Wham has decided to go for Horseman. The problem is the TC is already up. So, like, where's your point of contact here, right? Because the deer have already been shoved in. The wood line could potentially work out. I just think it's going to be quite the reach, quite the ambitious attempt. You're going to have to wait for the Zhuge Nu, and that should buy ample time for Louis to get the first of these Sipahi out. First one already out, in fact. Second military school, of course, going up. Blacksmiths to be added, and I imagine we're going to be seeing his stables as well. Funnily enough, Wham is quite counterable if Louis simply builds into Sipahi. I think what Wham's leaning on is the idea of this attack speed, though. If I'm not mistaken, he got it, right? No, he hasn't actually gone for it yet. It's in the blacksmiths. I keep forgetting that. I keep checking stables. So Dahlia horses is what I'm keeping on here, folks. It gives an increased attack speed of 20% to all cavalry units. That includes scouts. That's what I beat now. It's mainly about the horseman play. We saw this in the pre-season 9 tournament that I ran, where players were trying Zhuji and they were trying it around horsemen. And surprisingly enough, they weren't too bad, actually. They could even potentially contest Ghazi. It's just a little bit tricky in cavalry fights, because if you're against a high-level opponent, they're going to max out the mobility, right? They're going to go in for attack, pull away. And if you have that environment where you're pulling away constantly, these horsemen aren't going to be as impactful, right? It's why I've said before that, like, Ghazi will beat horsemen and it won't even be close. It's not because, oh my god, like, they have a lower attack speed, but their health is higher and the base damage and whatever balances it out. It's because a difference of 1.75 versus 2, which is what the Ghazi have, doesn't matter when you've got all these units moving around, clambering over each other. So keep an eye out for that, because one thing that could favor Wham is the fact that his horsemen are quicker. These Sipahi, a little bit slower, 1.75 movement speed. First, the Zhuge Nu do get intercepted trying to walk across. We've actually got to play into age 3, so Wham, I don't know if this was necessarily the original plan. I don't think it was. I think this was a reactionary play to the second TC, which is very creative by him, actually. It's very smartly thought out, because if you tried to play into this 2 TC on a delay now, with the passive of the Ottomans being the fact they get these Vizier points over time, you would feel like you're falling behind. So I kind of like that he's just trying to pull ahead and then build economy at an early point in the game off of these relics. Great strike in there. Just trying to harass and deny the wood line. So we'll slow things down and idle Louis up because Louis was trying to go for a fast castle build. And now he's going to find himself idly behind. Was not quite able to go up for Wham there, so it looks like he's even going to get found. Whoa, hold on, this could be big. Gate is being built up, but, I mean, you have to activate the Fortitude, right? Looks like it's on cooldown here, so luckily for Wham, he's able to get out. Unfortunately for Wham, the extra Sipahi are now on the way, so the likelihood of these two villagers making it back is low. Mehmed Imperial Army is also on the way for Louis now, so I was kind of surprised that, like, I remember, I think I saw one game where someone tried to go for the council, for the alternative, right? Because, believe it or not, there is 2 landmarks for the Ottomans in Castle Age. The Imperial Palace did come out once, I think, in the preseason tournament, but outside that, people stuck to Mehmed, and I was a little bit surprised considering that the mangonels aren't as powerful as they were. Remember, they've been heavily nerfed. I actually thought that would be enough to justify Istanbul Palaces coming through more frequently, but Clash on the west side here. Okay, this might work against regular horsemen. Remember, Sipahi have the extra range, so no way you can kind of outplay them there. Looks like it's going to be 2 villages down, 1 Sipahi lost for it, but Louis more than happy with that investment. Yeah, it's also keeping the reactions further away from the relics. I mean, Wham should be able to kind of run this down now, right? 2 Sipahi low, Spearman low, so he will be able to secure that west side relic. And monks are being pumped quite aggressively here. 2 already prepped. 3rd one on the way. The problem now for Louis is, you know, I don't think he can contest these. Remember, the Shaolin monks are absolute badasses. They can fight most units 1-to-1. And what is up, Jarman? Thank you very much, sir. Has anyone used Springles effectively? They seem weak as hell. I haven't been able to catch any games of it yet. When I did do the pre-season tournament, the big issue with Springles is that they didn't work. They basically had a bug where if you shot a moving target, it didn't penetrate. But I'm excited to find out now that that has been fixed. Wow, I'm getting ready to constrict though. This could be big. Louis quick on those reactions though. Not going to allow it for free. And the tricky part here is actually I think Louis, he's gone for archer ranges. I would have expected Raxus here. Spearman just to deal with the threat, but instead he's trying to be a bit more greedy, a bit more efficient. Crossbows is initially harder to get into, but it provides better scaling is the thought process. Holy crap, someone found me? I mean, how do you know it's me? There are so many pigeons out there. Like, how do you for sure know that this is the correct one, you know? This is like one of those moments where someone's like, how do you know that you love that person? And then you give them some crap about you just know. Janissary's coming out pretty fast here, though. Wait, why do I think crossbows? I forgot. How could I forget Ottomans had this? I mean, in fairness, they did get retweaked, right? So the whole idea is that they're meant to be less effective against certain units now. They had the extra damage taken changed. So the tag is different. They only take bonus damage from archers now. So in fairness, overall, Janissaries were buffed with enough. I think their base damage was slight, or bonus damage rather, slightly decreased. But they no longer get countered by crossbows. And against most civs, that's a really big deal, right? Like, okay, so you have to go archers, you don't want to go archers. The awkward thing with Zhuji is they can't go archers. They do, however, have the Zhuge Nu. What's interesting to me is the thought of the range defense here. I actually think with the range defense, Zhuge Nu might not counter Janissary now. That's kind of wild. Has anyone else just had that realization? Like, I mean, we're going to have to test it more thoroughly, but I wonder if you just sent 30 Janny versus 30 Zhuge Nu. I mean, that's unfair, right? They're more. So if you sent, what, like 22 Janissary versus 30 Zhuge, who would win? And yeah, I'm actually a big fan of this change with Zhuji being a Cav Civ now. Like, it makes sense. Their cousin empire is really focused around infantry. China's always been that way ever since they nerfed the ridiculous Fire Lancers. God, could you guys remember the early days of Fire Lancers? That was actually a wild time, by the way. I still remember that. That would just cheese so many victories. But yeah, now with this kind of new identity, it makes a lot of sense. The crazy part to me, I don't think we're going to see it in this game. It'd be kind of tricky to get that deep. But when you reach Imperial Age and you go into the unique cavalry, The weird part to me is that Yuan Raiders didn't really get nerfed, they're overall buffed. Whereas Imperial Guards were altered so that the Dali upgrade didn't buff them too much, right? So like overall what that comes down to is Yuan are now much more buffed than the Imperial Guards, which I found absolutely baffling because I think there's many more situations where the Yuan Riders are better, right? Much better, in fact. Oh, sorry, Raiders. They're so cheap and they're so fast, and they actually have really good base damage for their stats and their cost. So things have slowed down quite a bit, right? But I have this feeling that the game is slipping away from Wham. His military doesn't really look that good. He's gone for a second TC now in a delay, so he's going to be 20 villages behind for quite some time. And sure, he has got some of the relics, but remember, we're talking about 5 military schools worth of production due to the Mehmed Imperial Armory there. So that equates to, God, someone will know the maths off by heart. Imagine Crackdy's here with the numbers. Isn't it something like, is it 12.5 workers? Which is pretty ludicrous when you consider that a relic is worth about 2. I'll have to see what Wham's got in mind, what the plan is going to be. Oh God, no. It's where every Sushi player goes when he's not sure anymore. Oh my God, dude. I feel like Krakeny can back me up on this. Actually, maybe he won't. He's going to try to make it an elegant defense. I feel like whenever Sushi aren't quite sure what to like do anymore, like they feel like they've lost their timing, the immediate thing they do, kind of like an English player walling himself in, is build a lot of TCs. I mean, why not, right? Song Dynasty makes them so cost efficient. And my late game eco is really good. The scary part is your mid-game military now is underwhelming. Louis is marching forward and Wham is trying to react by going into Horseman here. I mean, it's tough, right? Like, you have got the full ranged armor, but the reality is you're still going to be getting hit for a pretty lofty 24 damage per strike. That gap close is going to lose you several cav units in the first place. Kind of tricky. It makes me wonder, like, I mean, Mangoes, no. I don't think Mango saves you either, right? Remember, Mangonels are very different. It's still so weird seeing a percent sign now next to the ranged armor. But I guess he kind of needed to go Horseman because of the Mangoes. Okay, so here's my thought. I think the changes around Siege probably have balanced late game Siege better. But is it me? Like, now I'm thinking about more. Castle Age Siege is going to be a bit weird, right? Like, getting mass Horsemen in Castle is very difficult. And they're your best counter to Mangoes. Guys, we might have a problem. Especially considering, like, most games are in Castle Age now, not in Imperial. Mango shots coming in. Okay, I take back what I said. Mangoes are not a problem. Oh, God. I read that they were buffed, that they got some of their tracking back, but you wouldn't believe it with what we just saw there. They completely missed that. Wait, did Louis really pull one villager? Okay, this guy's a Chad. You know what the funniest part about this is, guys? I'm wondering how many of you realized it, because the #1 player ranked in the world right now hasn't realized it. You don't need to bring a villager to repair these. Remember, guys, use Patch Shop. Repairs at half the speed, but your Janissaries can do it. And if you make this one change, that means technically you have been more mechanically gifted with the Ottomans than the ranked #1 player in Season 9 right now, the ranked #1 player in China. How about that? Yeah, this is pretty impressive though, guys. I mean, Wham is now reacting by going to mass spears, which kind of makes sense. I don't know. Like, I'm still thinking Zhuge, and I get why he didn't because he is up against Sipahi. But, like, what else are you meant to do here? Palace Guard? Maybe Palace Guard could have worked? Or wait, actually, no. Dude, the answer's even simpler. Why am I even thinking this? Just build Nesta Bees. Mangonels were nerfed more than Nesta Bees. Nesta Bees are pretty good still, I'd say. We only saw 1 or 2 games on this preseason 9. But I don't think they were nerfed further since then. I mean, this is a bit of a fizzle and then a fart, really, isn't it? Wham! I think he just needs to go after the economy here. He can't directly contest the military, but his concern now is he's waited so long that Louis is in a position that if you attack Louis' economy, Louis will attack yours. And I think we might be approaching that point. Horseman, Rohirrim Riders now coming in. Wham! looking for any target he can get, but the keeps are nearby. The triple mangonel as well. And the Janissaries are ready to fight. I don't know what you do against these. I don't know, man. I don't think they needed to change Janissaries to be archers as a specific counter. Because, like, you can't do anything against this. Like, can someone confirm for me? Juganu, they don't have the extra damage against light gunpowder infantry tag, right? And yeah, horsemen do bonus damage, but the problem is you're still taking a lot more damage in return, right? Like, if you do the raw maths on it, you realize how crazy it is. You have 155 HP, you do 24 damage, but in return, you take 24 damage from a 90 health unit, right? That you're meant to counter. You do admittedly have about 60 more health, but they're ranged. Okay, Juganu with the new upgrade has +1 against light infantry. I assume that's Janissaries. It might not be, though. Is it light infantry? Or... let's have a look. Bomb magazines is +1 against light melee infantry. Sorry, you guys can't see that. It's light melee infantry. So it doesn't counter. So wait. Did this just become Zhuji's hardest matchup? I actually think it might be. Because you haven't really got a counter to Janissaries. Like, you legitimately can't build the intended counter. Oh my god. I mean, it might not have been too bad if it was the +1 against light, right? But I don't know, like, mathematically, I'll just have more range, but that at least fix it. I'd have to test it more thoroughly, but I feel like Zhu aren't as good of a counter as you'd like, because, like, a high-level Ottoman player will just put the ranged armor on, right? And mitigate 3 times more damage than you would against an archer. Whereas an archer, with its bonus damage, would do, like, what, close to what a Janissary does? No, it's lower. But then again, the cost is lower. Like, substantially lower, right? I don't know, man. This, like, the more I think about this, I'm gonna have to sit on it and cook. But I'm curious to see what people's thoughts are gonna be on this now that they've kind of like had a preview. Maybe like Wham, he probably should have tried Juganu, but in fairness, I understand why he didn't. Like, you're against Master Sipahi. What we're kind of getting here is a revelation of what has always been a classic ridiculous combo: Sipahi, Janissaries, and then eventually Great Bombards. It's just so scary. I think Nesta Bees would have been the cool, but it's way too late for that. He's got them coming now, but they're coming when his economy is about to be blocked. Farms are being set up, Sacred Sites have been locked in, and it is quadruple Mangonel. Remember, Mango's also got buffed to do slightly more damage to buildings now. And if he actually ground targets between the two, instead he's hiding them inside. I don't know what... I don't think there's anything you can do at this stage against this comp. Spearmen going to march in. Horsemen wrap around the back, so they are on the counter. Janissaries will need some assistance here. The Mangoes are shooting out. Could this work? What a bitch! Has he got the damage, though? The Spearman count is looking healthy for now, but the Horsemen, they've been eradicated. It's still 25 plus Janissary. No way in hell. Wham! With the full surround, it's going to be the one surrounded and sent 6 foot under. Damn, that is crazy. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that this is necessarily the best call. I think Wham was pivoting and maybe didn't get to what he needed to, but this would have been a tough one either way. The Janissaries might be a real problem now for the Zhuji. Oh, lordy. Sorry, just had to send a message. My climbing friend was like, hey, do you want to come? I'm like, oh, I can't today. Damn, that's crazy, though. I wasn't expecting it to that extreme. Yo, should we do another Louis one? Do you guys want more Louis? I think you want more Louis. I can tell you want more Louis. Gotta tap it into our veins. So, we've got him going up against Dumu or going up against Core. Dumu is 4 Lakes H3 Delhi, and Core is Japanese Ibids. Which one do you guys want? Holy crap. New Ottomans is a really big problem. Japan? Yeah, I knew you guys want Japan. Drongo must be loving the new Ottomans. Dude loves Ottomans. No, I think you'll find he's now going to be modding about them because he's a Chinese main, remember? And we just said Jugnu don't work. So, the maths doesn't lie. Anton thinks Ottos suck and doesn't want to play them anymore. Wait, does he really? Why? Didn't Ottomans get outright buffed? I mean, well, the mango. The mango is the one thing. But, like, I think people have kind of been sleeping on the alternative landmark. I think it actually might be time. All right. Let's get ready in game. We'll speed this up a little bit for the first 2 or 3 minutes so that we're on course, on track. He got wrecked by Elio and Malians? Wait, did he outpost rush? You always outpost rush that matchup. So, like, did he just get unlucky on the RNG? Hillendale again? Hey, you guys chose the matchup. I need confirmation on that Elio game, but, like, basically, guys, in Ottomans versus Malians, Ottomans are just meant to outpost rush Malians. I don't know. I think Ottoman's above, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know if Anatan actually said that. I'm kind of surprised. The only thing that got nerfed about them is the castle age timing, but they got a lot in return. Like, I actually think Cav Archers and Feudal might be broken. I remember casting that Corvinus game, and it was just ludicrous that he was able to keep up with a castle age player that long with Feudal age units. So, yeah. We'll see. Does Omen play you don't want to play Omen anymore? Why? Because it feels dirty how easy the game is? How to send you a clip or anything? You can drop them in chat. It sucks? Why? What sucks about it? Okay, Hosen, you know how to give feedback, dude. Imagine if that's what I just said about the Civ you made. Come on, you can do better than that. Show you're working. This is the maths test. All right, yeah, this is normal crap. I think mass cav archers are probably going to be an issue eventually. Yeah, definitely. It's not easy to scale, but like if you can navigate that water, it's ridiculous. Cav archers is hard to micro. Okay, so they gave you something additional. They didn't really take anything away, and you're complaining. Wait, no. I'm going to put this on call, right? I'm not letting you get away. So Ottomans suck now because they gave you something additional to use, and you don't like the way you have to. But they didn't get nerfed, okay? Like, can we agree on that? They didn't get nerfed. You know, everyone's sitting over here with their civs and be like, oh, life sucks. And there's still Japanese players going, we still have only one option. Is Core going to take that option? Is it going to be the Uma Bannerman opening into Fast Castle, or are we getting something different out of the German? Is he going to have to get that creative? Because Louis MT might be gunning for him, folks. Welcome back to Age of Empires for action. We've got another Hillendale game here. Elephants, Louis MT, now in the Ibids, and he has gone for the growth wing, and you can see the intent behind this. Double archery range drop. Really cool play against a Ford Gold and Stone Spawn for Core. This is about to be a nightmare. The Castle Age landmark. Okay, so I'm going to quickly, weirdly enough, in a non-Ottoman video, I'm going to address the Omen issue. I actually think, yes, the armory got slightly nerfed, but it needed to be nerfed. It needed to. Quite frankly, it was you built it more than an HRE player builds Arkin. Don't even try to argue that. I actually think the Imperial Palace might be good now. I think people are sleeping on it. Time will tell, but I think that Vizier point generation is going to be hella strong. Meanwhile, this Civ still has about the same diversity as March of the Penguins. It's just literally, they're all the same. Because really, Japan, no matter what we try and do with this Civ, it comes back to the same old, same old. Build stables, get Uma Bannerman, maybe build a few horsemen, and then go Castle Age. It looks like Core doesn't really have as much of a choice in the matter, though. He's going to have to contest the Age because Louis is amplifying his military presence in Feudal. Yeah, I think this is kind of an interesting thing, right? It's like, Ibids in this matchup, I think Japan used to be really good when it was Fast Castle versus Fast Castle. It's just players wanted to do the wrong unit. They wanted to do Mount Samurai instead of doing Onimusha. But now with this Ibid aggro play, it's quite scary, right? Because I think Japan's #1 play, if they're going to play this Age, No matter what comp you're going for, whether it's racks, archer range, one component of it has to be stables, it feels like. It always comes back to stables. And this is a nightmare civ to try and build stables against because you can only get one of your heavy cav, and then you have to get horsemen and build them into desert raiders, right? Which isn't terrible against the desert raiders if you outnumber them. But at a high level, usually what IB players will do is they'll just add in the stables instead of adding the archer range and then the pump. The wild part is Louis had to go archers because he wants to break the outpost control and stop a tech up from core. Needed to okay, wait. So we've got him, guys. We got him. We caught host in checkmate. So the real issue you have with the changes is you have to change strategies. Shall I get you your old man pipe so you can tell me about how it was in the old days? No, I love that though. I love that the meta is evolving. I love that new strategies are coming in, old strategies are falling off. That's beautiful. I think that's actually what we need more of more frequently in AoE 4. Like, are we really still okay with 2TC English with King? Or are we bored already? It's been half a year. I don't mind that they created a new strategy. I hate that it basically became the strategy. I mean, look at this game, right? This is completely different. We've been having constant action in team games the last few weeks, and as a result, we seem to start finding Desert Raider spam appearing in our 1v1s, which is such a weird sight. I would never have envisioned this before, but it's sick. Check it out. Cool. Already losing a villager. He's lost control of the gold. He doesn't have what he needs to go Castle Age, causing a bit of a pickle. And I wonder, Louis, you know, if he just added in stables of his own or racks, he could just end this game now. I think instead Louis is plotting to go Castle Age on a delay. Oof. This is kind of rough from Core though. Food-wise, is he okay? He's got 9 sheep, so that's not too bad compared to the, what, 7 on the other side. Deer have been reached out to. His deer haven't been touched. They haven't even been shoved in yet, which is a little bit problematic against Desert Raiders, but in theory, with enough horsemen, it shouldn't be a problem. This could be sick, though. If you intercept them with abandonment, it's huge, because then these horsemen aren't all going to get buffed while already being the counter for Desert Raiders. It's going to be a shift away. Archers are bailed on, though. And Louis, folks, is indeed targeting Castle Age here. This is kind of wild. Pretty potent unit, right? Like, Desert Raiders, for those that have not watched the team games that appeared on the tournament, why not? You're missing out on some kick-ass action. Go check it out, because it's really been an eye-opener to just how ridiculous Desert Raiders are when you get to scale just them. I mean, even with this being the counter, you have to remember Horsemen, they are going to get debuffed by the Desert Raiders Camelonese, and then, of course, get bonus damage to offset that. But you're getting bonus damage and still hitting into a unit that already has 5 melee armor, right? So a lot of your damage does get mitigated. Flash is going to come in from Louis. 2 being dropped that quickly doesn't actually show a good sign, but the follow-up looks much better. Nice hits there. Brings the Lama low. Has been reduced down to just a few Desert Rays left over. A bit of a miss micro there as Louis tries to recommit just one. Not ideal. Kind of crazy as well, actually. If he'd waited for that second full HP Desert Raider, I actually think that Louis could have cleared up all of this. Instead, it will be pressured back. However, damage already done. The tech up has been triggered. We're 45 seconds away from age 3 for Louis. Core is catching up, but I think he's going to be late unless he commits a lot of villages. And I don't know if I'd say 9 is enough. Kind of feels like a 12 to 14 requirement. Maybe he's expecting Louis to go for a slow tech up, right? Because he is kind of greedy and panicky to go advance and wing. Banham, in the meantime, is going to jump in. So a few villages peeled on the other side here, offsetting some of that growth wing value. Not able to get any additions, though. Nicely micro there. Louis just trapping in the Uma Bannerman. Core can replace that, by the way. I'm a bit surprised players don't do this more frequently. Like, when you're waiting for your tech up, just build an Uma Bannerman. It is admittedly a knight with worse stats than your typical Castle Age knight, but it comes out really quickly, and you can build an age ahead. Love that Core's doing it here. I think it's really smart. Because the logic is in timings, right? Like, where could this Uma Bannerman be versus if we waited for the first knight to come out, right? The Uma Bannerman could already be halfway across the map compared to the Mount Samurai. Villagers are just less tanky military. Ah, I see you've signed up to Don Artie's coaching sessions. Like, that read exactly like if I didn't have your name up on the screen, Fat Blab, I would have assumed that it was Don speaking. He really has influenced us. Lance is now being queued up. We've still got Desert Raiders getting added in, which is kind of cool. So this is about, what, contesting the Mountain Samurai, right? Which makes sense because Camel Lancers fare worse than Camel Raiders up against Mat Samurai. Pretty confident in saying that. I haven't ran the Faro test, but if you just do the basic maths, right? 26 damage, good attack speed, lower health, sure. But this is 26 damage before you make it Castle Age. Meanwhile, Camel Lancers are a bit more awkward because they have only got 22 damage per swing, which already makes them worse. They have less health than your standard Knight, right? 210 versus 230. And then, to make it really rough, the huge nail in the coffin is the fact that the big upside is meant to be this initial charge with the Lance, right? It gets additional damage as you charge. The problem is against Mounted Samurai, that first hit does 0 damage because of deflective armor. So I actually quite rate this Desert Raider play. You'll see the stats in a second. I think it goes up to, what was it, 155 health? Which makes you fairly chunky, especially with the 5 melee armor. 145. Okay, but look at the damage. 30 compared to 22. And of course, the final cherry on top is that one of these units costs 240 and one of them costs 180. Yeah, he's trying to force core hard off of this unit type. And core, like, the awkward part actually is, like, where do you go now if you're forced off of Mount Samurai? If you go for Yumi, you've built Yumi, right? Like, I said they can be good, but it's your only option. And the problem is if you go Yumi, your opponent's already built Camel Lancers as well. So you don't kill the camels. If you go Onimusha, you don't get bonus damage against the Desert Raiders whatsoever. Right? Like, you do reasonable damage, 12 base against a 145 health unit with 0 armor. But it doesn't feel great in terms of trade either. So yeah, this is kind of tricky, man. I think Core is in a box. He has at least got 1 relic on the way home. However, it's looking like it's probably going to be a 4-1 relic split here. Any situation with Japanese KP, maybe you should go Yumi? You know what? Maybe if the Japanese players listen to me more, they'd win more games. Okay, fuck. I mean, Castle Age Yumi aren't too bad, right? In the right circumstance. The problem here is it's not as much he's getting a step ahead on the transition as he's going to be forced to it. Because building Mountain Samurai like this will just lose you the game. Right? Like, mathematically, like, the numbers don't support you here. You're spending more for a worse unit. He's at least going to buy some time. Yeah, I do think, like, going Horseman as well, it does make sense, right? Theoretically. How much food does Core have, though? Because that's the tricky thing. Like, Desert Raiders are more spammable, 80 food a pop versus the 100. Right, and the bang for buck, like 1 Horseman versus 1 Desert Raider should win by a little bit. Used to say that even before Yumi buff. Like, what Yumi buff are you talking about? The one where they gave him that pointless extra 5 HP in Feudal Age? Oh, wow. My unit that dies so fast is now going to die slightly less fast. It's almost like they're meant to be thrown away. Man, I'm really salty about the Yumi. They're situational, but they are strong. But is it me? Or is Desert Raiders looking less situational and more every game? Right? Like, I'm not the only one seeing this, right? This unit's kind of ridiculous. I mean, you can argue it's Japan's fault for being one-dimensional, but at the same time, even if you try to get to what you think is going to be the appropriate counter, it can feel a little bit weird because this is such a mobile unit. I think this is an inherent issue you'll experience in Age of Empires 4, maybe Age of RTSs in general a lot. Units that have movement speed are really difficult to counter compared to, like, infantry types, right? Like, even if you're building the counter, when Horsemen chase, the difference in movement speed between a Horseman and Archer is substantially larger than a Desert Raider Horseman. So although you are countered and you might be forced to retreat, your losses on the retreat are lower. Now, of course, you're paying a premium to get that effect, right? Archer's going to be 8 resources, Desert Raider's double that, over double that, in fact. But, like, given the utility, it's worth the price of admission. Also, what is it with Louis in matches featuring Japan where he goes 1 unit type early? Usually it's him playing Japanese with Mount Samurai, but this time it's against it. And there's the ugly sign on its way. That wasn't targeted at the bride riding on this horse. It's just Onimusha doesn't feel great to have to do against Desert Raiders. 10 base damage, you get that up to a maximum of 12. Desert Raiders, nice snipe in there. Able to find 3 villages, well played by Louis. And of course, the other dirty thing about this unit when it raids, if a Horse Archer comes here, it's going to take 1,250 attacks to get through. Desert Raiders, substantially less. 17 damage on the torch. Man, that's just dirty. He's immediately in already. In the meantime, other side of this, while Lol try and cover the wall up, Louis, it actually works out for him, not completely necessary, but we'll get the wall up and online. In the meantime, the food sources for Core are limited to one location here. The deer and the berries on the backsides, pretty much in the same area. The flank raid is now coming in. Desert Raiders with the swords out. Horseman count not high enough yet for Core. And I love that micro. Dude, this is why Louis is creme de la creme. Splits into two, half go to melee, half stick in range, because he understands the fight isn't wide enough for him to use all of them in melee. He's dive in, second wave coming through. A full melee commit now, and this game is looking ugly for Core. Horsemen are just getting minced. Samurai on the flank are going to break in to try and get some return damage done here. And admittedly, the TC is a good defense up against these Desert Raiders, but the idle time alone, and now the ripple effect with a few Desert Raiders left over on the villagers, might be too much for Core to recover. Now going to move in range form here. That's going to force another shuffle. A few villagers are going to go down. Other side of this, the Mount Samurai do ride in, but unfortunately are too late. Wait, are they? Louis. Oh no. Return fire coming in. Core, when he needs a strike back, he might be able to find it. Unfortunately, the second wave of Desert Raiders, good enough to scare him off. And we're now talking about a game where Core's been heavily idled. He's 5 villages behind. And on top of that, his opponent has 4 relics and is now looking for sacred sites. Yeah, the most worrying part for me is his food. That gap in food gathering has flatlined Core's ability to build an army. Luckily for him, TC very good against Desert Raiders, thumbs up, right? Like, actually, the count was reduced pretty heavily. The crazy part, though, is to look at Louis' economy. Is this a fast imp build? If he goes military wing reinforcement, this is really strong, folks. It's actually crazy. It works out as a 640 resource rebate every minute, right? So here's the crazy thing, actually. Like, this is the wild part. Desert Raiders, they delayed it now by how long for the first spawn? Was it 30 seconds? Does anyone remember? It wasn't the full 2 minutes, right? I think it's 30 seconds. But that means 15 seconds, sorry. Not even 30. 15:45, okay, I'm getting mixed answers. The point is, though, we'll get to it. You are getting, in less than a minute upon arrival in Imperial Age, a 1,280 resource rebate on the 3,600 resource cost, right? That is advancement wing levels of good. That's kind of wild when you think about it that way. And considering in this game, spamming Desert Raiders is a win condition, Louis may have just hit the jackpot. 50 for King, not 45. King used to be, I believe it's 30. I mean, he's got to be thinking about it, right? Love the fact he's adding another Dervish. Wants to secure the sacred sites, but I also think it's really good to just top off all these health bars. This is the interesting thing about healing, especially Dervish healing. Dervish healing is more effective against high effective HP, low raw HP targets. What I mean by that, for example, is a Desert Raider in this matchup against Horseman, Mount Samurai, they're going to have 8 melee armor already, right? You scale that to late game, can be 30 melee armor. Your overall health pool is small, but your effective HP, aka how much health you have in a fight, is substantially higher. And that means that you get more bang for buck out of healing auras than, for example, a Gilded Night Lord. Is it 630 or 640 resources? It's over 600 at this point. Desert Raiders coming in. Horseman. I'm not sure about this fight. Oh, Core, he tries to chase through, but the wall's already there. And Louis, I mean, he has the numbers to win this type of fight. He is kind of trickling his troops in a little bit, but keep in mind there's no bannerman. The Horsemen aren't going to be buffed. And also, Horseman count only at 7 in this fight. So the Mount Samurai aren't going to perform that well. All base damage and also a lot of melee armor to chunk into. He gets absolutely melted. Now you're my sugar daddy. Voldemort, welcome to the Louis 1 trick. He doesn't build more than 1 unit. Thank you very much for the raid, buddy. Louis has spent the last 21 minutes building only Desert Raiders. Nay, he built, what was it, 2 archers. But other than that, he has built pew-pew camels the entire time. This is brutal. I could just imagine the core molds. I mean, I'm looking at this matchup and thinking more about what the hell you're meant to do. Like, the only thing I can think about is you just go Onimusha straight away. I think that's your only play here, or Yuumi. But probably Onimusha because that keeps him off of Lances, right? But like that concept, that build, which shout out to Baltoon coming up that one, I think that was really based on the idea of Camel Lancers. It never really had to entertain the thought of mass Desert Raiders, which, by the way, is about to turn into a bigger amassment of Desert Raiders. Military Wing, Reinforcement, Age 4 on the way. Yuumi Onimusha is the way? Yeah, I think you have to like play into it, right? And like in theory, in some ways you have an advantage there because you've just got a full ranged army to micro with. And also, this is gonna sound weird to people, but you actually use the Yuumi as a front line. The cannon fodder front line. So like you front line with Yuumi, so if Camel Lancers come, your Onimusha can't be reached. I legit think people just need to get over stables in this matchup. In theory, Horsemen can win, but we mentioned the problem with that is usually food. Like, scaling Horsemen in Castle Age, it feels like the hardest point in the game to do it, right? Like, you have a decent amount of food in Feudal Age, and then in Imperial Age, you have farm set up. But in Castle Age, you tend to be at the point where you're running low on your food. I think it's the hardest point in the game to build Horsemen in. And that just feeds the beast, because like Louis, of course, is just, like we said, getting more bang for buck. He's getting great versatility on a 180 resource unit, 80 food compared to 100 per. And we've seen what one Desert Raider can do compared to one Horseman. It's almost time. 40 seconds away. Sacred Sites are still locked in. Core has at least built into additional farms here, but this does not look like a comfortable boy. On top of that, guys, Core has not got great gold income. And by not great, I mean, what is gold? And then he screams, "Baby, don't hurt me," but Louis can't understand because he doesn't know that song. Oh, cool. Looking for love in Louis' base right now. Is going to march in. However, this looks like a sandwich, especially with the Desert Raider wing coming in just 8 seconds. It would give him the numbers to surround on both sides. Cool, marches to the back. Looking for that economy, that sweet, sweet economy. A gate is already being rushed up on the other side, though. Tech up complete, and Core, Louis knows it. He's getting ready to peel north side. If he comes from both angles, he could block this perfectly. Villagers shuffle out the other side. Louis needs to get a move on, though, because that one Horseman did buy time for Core, but the second wall's coming in! Louis, he understands how to win a game! He traps him! Core comes in. He will not be able to go out, though. The walls are already back up. The blockers are in place. And Core is not getting out of this hill. Oh my god. Poor Core here. Aging up to the point that he's starting to get arthritis. And Louis, the kid, the 22-year-old, vibrant, youthful, you can see it. He's got the APM. A few villagers stuck inside, but the Horsemen can't leave anymore, and the Desert Raiders just need to go. Core is about to get mopped up. Louis about to prove his skills as a janitor in doing so, as he's ready to clean house. Core only spamming Horsemen with less than 1,000 food income is an ugly sign any day of the week. Elite Desert Raider upgrade just came in. Meet your new overlord. What would be their song when going into battle? It would legit just be My Humps from Black Eyed Peas, wouldn't it? Oh my god, it's even worse. Oh, Louis having such a good time. I mean, he understands, right? Like, he's got half his Desert Rays guarding, half assaulting. He's got a second TC that's now built up, so he's recovering. And Core is dead. I think he's just trying to have what little fun is left in this game. Sadly, for him, it is now dried up. More archery ranges on the way. I mean, maybe at an early stage, sure, but it's too late for that. Desert Raiders, the ultimate counter to the Japanese one-trick. Oh, that was a sick game. So, yeah, I think that one's uploadable too, right? Like, that one would probably be... Ibid team meta shifts to 1v1 matches. Be everything. Holy crap. That's crazy. All right, guys. So, yeah, thank you very much, Voldemort. Hopefully you had a good stream. Did my boy rank up? Where's Voldy at? Do we have to invite him to a show match tomorrow and give him $5? Maybe, maybe. Let's have a look. Let's check that ranking board. Because in a few minutes, guys, we've got a show match. That's right. I'm confirming now. I think it might end up being a best of 5 here. Clearman originally planned for a BO3, but I said BO5 makes a lot more sense. It's going to be ultra short otherwise. It's going to be a team game. So it's going to be Team America versus Team Vietnam. So Wab, Puppy Paw, Mr. Munch, and Jigglypuff going up against, I believe it's going to be Mio Micah, Keo, Lumber, and Vuva Van. But I will get confirmation of the Vietnamese lineup. So what is up, one and all? Just checking the YouTube side as well. Even against other civilizations, it will be a strong combo. Oh, what? The Desert Raiders? Yeah, 100%. Like, dude, I think what happened here is a bunch of people played the team tournament games. And they're like, oh, Desert Raiders are really good. And is it the same Miyamaka from StarCraft 2? Yes. He hops on back onto AoE 4 on occasion, usually for free-for-alls and team tournaments more than 1v1s. But he can occasionally be found in 1v1 tournaments, mainly playing the Mongols. He's a really big Mongol spammer, which I can kind of respect these days because he waited until like after the outpost rush days to do it, you know? It's somewhat more tasteful when you wait this long. Okay, so let me check on the AoE2 draft website because a lot of the boys just came online, which means they are getting ready to start soon. By the way, not only have we got this show match in T-minus 2.5 hours, we've got something really big to announce. I'm freaking excited, and hopefully you guys are as well. I mean, dude, we need to make, I'm going to have to try and make sure the marketing's done around this. I don't know if I'm going to set up the Reddit thread. I'll double check, but I asked someone if they can set up a Reddit thread and be sure to share it around, and I'll try to announce it in all the most known Discords, because we got something big coming that we just can't keep hidden much longer. I can keep it hidden for about 2 hours and 27 more minutes. That's very specific. Okay, but draft is already underway. So they are going to be using the same draft as Fields of Blood, which is the Clear Man tournament that's been going on. Makes a lot of sense because he is hosting this show match. So if you're Vietnamese, have that one open as well. If you're English or speak English, probably hang it here. So, Dry Arabia, Rocky River Gorge. Baltic got banned out. No, oh, what? No one wants to play in the paddling pool. I'm a little bit disappointed. And first game. What map was it? Rocky River, right? No, that's Gorge. Okay. Ooh. Mongols on Gorge. Yeah, so you probably want Mongols as your front-facing player. French, Yone right at the back, and HRE second towards the middle. Because remember, on Gorge, you spawn from the outskirts inward towards each other. So the two of the players are going to be very close together within attack range where infantry comps make sense. And Mongols can be that early game harasser, right? And HRE can then just go for like fast castle play into Burgrave. I actually highly rate Burgrave on this map. Other side, Japanese should be rushing Castle Age. Byzantines can play defender. Abbasids can scale camel archers, and English can provide longbow support. So your ideal formation here is like the English front line, Byzantine secondary, and then Abbasids and Japanese can be interchanged on the back. But usually Japan's going to be better at the back because they can build defenses like outposts more easily to defend themselves. So, pretty cool. And by the way, $120 on the line, I believe this is, in total. So, I'm not sure what the split is going to be. It's presumably winner takes all. Let me double check with Clearman on that, actually. Winner takes all. Also, not a BO5. Just double checking with him whether we're going to be upgrading to a BO5. I find, like, I don't know, man. I was like, for $120, they can do 5 games, dude. I know it's being split between the players, but 3 games is quite small. I don't mean to size shame it. I think the thing I said to Clearman is if we can't make it a best of 5, make it a playoff 3. Because they're already prepared to play 3 games either way. So winner is going to get $80, so $40 to the losers. If a turbo user tunes in, do you get dollars from that? I believe so, yes. But a turbo user wouldn't get access to all my sick emotes. Show them, team. I see a bunch of subs in the chat. Spam those emotes. Show them all the good things they're missing out on. I think we also have some of those on YouTube now as well, actually. I think the way YouTube works is similar to Twitch, where you need more people to subscribe to unlock more of the slots. So as we unlock more slots there, I'll add more of the emotes that you can already find on Twitch. So boys are getting into lobby now. We should be ready to get underway in just a few minutes. Look at that, dude. You know what the best part is? When you wave a Japanese flag, it could also just be a surrender flag. Same with Zhone. I could have just asked my graphic artist, can I just get a version that's white of that? Perfect. I mean, in fairness, like Zhone's flag pretty much looking like a surrender flag is probably historically appropriate. Actually, in fairness, it looks more gold, right? Like, you could kind of just envision that being a surrender flag, right? I'm not alone in that. I'm not cooking too hard, right? I do need to maybe get a wall, though. We'll have to look at that. Maybe. Okay, maybe make it APO free? Alright. I'm negotiating for Clearman through Clearman. Apparently, Puppy Port only has time for a BO free. So I went, okay, but just make it a play or free. Like, if you have time for a BO free, you have time for a play or free. Or you're a cocky son of a gun. It almost sounds like yeah, you know, I'm expecting like a Marine Lord type persona to... Marine Lord is the one I thought of straight away. I was like, the type of person to say they have time for a BO free, but not a play or free. Like, I will just win this in 2. This is where Marine Lord will just appear in chat and start a fight with me. He usually has a tendency to just know. You know what I mean? It's almost a... Like, not even almost. It is a skill. Oh, dude, I'm so excited for this. For this and what we have to announce next. It's a busy day. Bloody cool day. Matches already started, cannot be changed. I mean, it can be changed. Like, you just have them play 2 games. And then you tell them to play the 3rd. I think, like, I need to talk to Clearman about this. I think, like, he doesn't realize maybe how much he's usually offering to these players. I think Clearman has a good heart, and he's really good at bringing money together. I've noticed that. But, like, yeah, I think he'd admit himself he doesn't have every answer to every, like, format or whatever. Because, like, it's quite funky when we started the team tournament one. I was like, oh, so, like, tournament days might be 2 hours long. Is that a bit weird? Because I think he had, like, you know, 2 games being played a day, and I was like, would it make more sense to do 3? Because, like, from a broadcast perspective, it's basic logic, right, guys? The longer you're live, the higher your average viewership will be, because viewership builds. It's one of the things that can make Twitch quite toxic the more you think about it, actually. Like, I know the comparison can be YouTube works that way as well, right? It's like, you know, you release a video and it generates more views over time. The difference is you're not, like, you go live, like, you put the YouTube video live, right? You post it, and then it generates views. Whereas with Twitch, you have to be live hour after hour after hour. I have noticed it has led to a very... I think toxic is the correct word. It's led to a very toxic environment for streamers where they and I don't know if this is going to sound like a controversial take. It's kind of like it's become comparative to like a basketball player or like a football player. You break your body for 10 years and try to milk every single ounce of it because afterwards you don't think you're going to be able to, whether it's losing relevance, whether it's, you know, just getting exhausted from streaming. Like when you're on a high, you feel like you have to ride that high, right? And because the way that metrics works with Twitch and whatever and how sponsorships work, instead of it being about what your peak viewership was or what your unique viewers are, usually it's about your average viewers. Anyway, a little bit of insights there. But let's get ready with the game because we're loading in now. And I will quickly jig everything around so we've got all the good things in. Gonna miss the announcement? Ah, you have to catch up on it in the morning, my friend. Is it a good announcement or a bad announcement? There's only one way to find out. To hang around for the announcement. That's how you find out. Wow. I would play the Team America soundtrack at the beginning of this, and then a Vietnamese one if I knew I wasn't going to get, like, DMCA'd on YouTube. Sag. This is update title. And then SHOWMATCH. Team America versus Vietnam. Subathon? Oof. I don't think there's enough people that want to sub to me for that. 2 hours in. All right, Subathon's done. I don't know. It's kind of interesting because like people have started to scale their subathons based on the size of their community, right? So like, you know, for a very big streamer, 1 sub's worth like 5 seconds. For a small streamer, 1 sub's worth an extra hour or something. But like I find that, and don't take this the wrong way, like I'm not grateful for sub. I do find that kind of a bad deal. Because like subathons can break your body, man. Like you guys have seen on how unhealthy some subathons became, right? Where they legit wouldn't go to sleep or whatever. I've seen people that have tried to stay live without any breaks whatsoever, any sleep, 72 hours plus, and they've been like, yeah, sub's worth half an hour. I'm like, dude, you are killing your body, and you're not even getting a good price for it. That is, like, I'm not sounding crazy or out of place, right? That does sound wild. But there's a bunch of streamers that do that kind of stuff, believe it or not. All right, let me get the score toggled on. All right, there we go. Oh, this is the one that blocks win conditions, though, right? I think we tolerate that. They just can't stay out of Asia. Team America is looking to invade. Oh, God, I can't believe I introduced like that. One and all, welcome back to the Age of Empires for Action. Season 9 just kicked off, and what a way to kick this off. We have got Team America going up against Team Vietnam. That's right, the Asian dominance in team games that we've been seeing over the last few weeks cannot be stood by, cannot be allowed. The Canadians and the Americans have come together to try and slay the beasts. We've got Mr. Munch, Jigglypuff, Puppy Paw, and Wham going up against a stacked Vietnamese lineup. At the front, we've got Vuvo Van. Next to him is going to be Vua Ao Lang, which I believe is me and Micah's account. You guys might know him from this or StarCraft. Then you've got Kyo, and finally, at the back is going to be Lumber. Yeah, so I was theory crafting the formation at the beginning of the game, and I don't know if this was what they wanted. I personally think you should be able to select location in team games. I think it's a really big oversight of the devs that you can't. Because there is an elegant strategy to be had here. They went double French cav civs. You don't want the French player at the front. You want the French player at the back. You can maybe tolerate Jeanne at the front because then she's close to the action. But French at the front is a big question mark. You then want preferably like the Mongol player where the French player is or just behind. And then HRE is luckily not too bad, but usually better further forward. On the other side, it looks like they hit the jackpot. Team America has Mr. Munch at the front. The English player is going to be the hardest to dent, but he's the easiest to reach. That's horrible for the enemy team. The Byzantine player behind is also exactly what we called for as the ideal and elegant setup here, because the Byzantine player and the English player can play double Lombo plus spears to hold the front line, and then the 2 Canadians at the back are a double cav comp. You've got Wham on the Japanese, that of course like spamming Mount Samurai, and also, by the way, counter French hard. And then you've got the hella busted Civ here of Bassids in team games that will be rushing into the Eco Wing, into multi-TC, and then into a multitude of Camel Archers. You know what we're missing here, guys? You know what would make this even better? I know what we need to do. You guys are Gambaholics, right? We need to get you your Gambas. America, Vietnam. 2 minutes. Appease your sinful needs. English has to go castle ASAP. He will die. You don't think he plays Lombos, Spears, and gets support by Spears? He's front player, right? I guess you could try to condense and go castle. You can't be greedy about it, though, right? You can't go, like, 2 TC here. That would be the stupidest thing. Like, that would just kill you with players this close. And, yeah, so Balton, the interesting thing, we were highlighting the burger play, and it is, by the way, going to be that due to mine work. I think they didn't get the ideal setup. Vietnam wanted Kyo here, and I think they wanted Mia Micah here. Because then they have a perfect timing before. Their timing's kind of awkwardly staggered here. But you are correct, and like the issue is going to have here is that these 2 players aren't going to support. I do think, in theory, when you play it on paper, in your brain, what Puppy Paw and Wham have picked sounds really good. But in reality, what you actually get is nothing. You get a huge nothing ball, because now if Mr. Munch has to rush Castle Age, you've got 3 players rushing Castle. Against an enemy team that should be triple feudal, 1 castle. That's scary. Guys, you're seeing it correctly. Kyo's going for the optimal timing here. That is a 1 villager tech up so that he's almost immediately ready to go castle the moment he hits feudal. Dude, this is scary. Now, do you still go Lombos here if you're Jigglypuff as a support player? I think you kind of have to. This is going to be tough, though. He really needs to get Limitane fast because it's not just the English player on the line here. It's now going to be him or these berries. Good news, at least, of course, is with the way Gorge spawns, the gold veins spawn between players, so they should be harder to reach. And also, Mr. Munch lucked out here. Check this. The gold spawned closer to him than it did to Jigglypuff. That's important because if it had been the other way around, you can see by the TC indicator, this gold would not have been protected by the town center. This way, it very much is for Mr. Munch. So he's got to be wiping his brow, wiping the sweat off from that one, because that was kind of fortunate. I don't think... I'd actually, maybe... Is that guaranteed? I know Battle Team plays a lot more team games than I usually watch. Baltz, is that now guaranteed that you always get the gold spawns closer to player 1 and player 3? So 1 and 3? Because it looks like it might be... No. Yeah, I think that's what it does. I mean, that's still lucky in terms of the spawning, right? Like, if Byzantine player had been here instead, I don't know if this would have been better for English. So, Age-Up's coming through. And Burgrave's on the way. Pre-6 minutes, the Castle Age build-up begins. By 6.5, I think 6 villagers probably going to be about 6 and 45. He should be in Castle. Dude, this is scary. I think you have to go Keshix. And yes, Mr. Munch and Jigglypuff might stand a chance here. Jigglypuff understands, right? Like, I wondered about Keshix here. It makes sense against double Night Civs. You kind of have no other option. The problem in this game is, though, what Mr. Munch is doing. Like, he feels like he needs to build something. Instead of building spears, he's building Lombos. Meanwhile, the TC spam. Puppy Paw. Basset players, they only ever want one thing. Are you kidding me on that spawn, though? The bros just sync up for it as well. Like, yep, let's push this in together, buddy. You're playing Japan. You haven't got anything to do for at least another minute. Okay, this is cool, though. I like the Keshik idea. It's very smart. Because if you build Lombos, you get Dove. You build Javelins, you get Dove, right? Like, if you build Lombos, you're countered by the same things that your teammate are. If you build Javelins, like, why? Look at the lineup. This is potentially free Cav comp, right? Like, Mongols could be going Cav as well. Weirdly enough, they're not. They're actually looking to go archery range here. Actually, I think Miyamuk is playing a Greed game instead. He'll provide the Deer Stone, but obviously that doesn't work for allies. He's not going Magadai. Okay, he's actually adding in the archers now. That's a lot of pastures early, though. All right, one's if you think that the Americans are going to win this, two's if you think the Vietnamese. Because I think Team America has a really hard hold ahead of them. Mr. Munch, he hasn't rushed that Castle Age, right? So he just built the Lombos that are quickly going to become less effective here. Imagine Vuvavan and Lumber are likely going to be going for a quick Blacksmith play soon. And yep, Undermesh already being prepped. Blacksmith also now being dropped by Vuvavan. So a similar timing on the look at that Undermesh. And also the timing is going to line up really nicely for this initial wave of Men-at-Arms arriving. So now the play is Kyo's going to wait until he's got probably about 20 Men-at-Arms and then they flood. Because, like, what do you do on the other side with that time? Apparently, you build the meme. Jigglypuff is like, Soldier tried to make this work in competitive at the start of the year. He ain't here anymore. I carry the torch. We've got the meme landmark on the way. Oh, wait. Hold on a sec. Guys, do they have a substitute? And is it allowed for you to kick your teammate before Game 2 starts? Because we might be seeing that here. I mean, this landmark did get buffed about, what, 3 patches ago? They increased the replenishment rate, right? And increased the maximum flask. They decreased the impact of 1 flask, but you get them more frequently. So, like, in theory, it's good. But remember what we said about in theories, like with red and orange's picks here. The Canadians' picks, in theory, are really good. In practice, they're probably too late. Wait, this meme is it's not a meme. This landmark is what beat Core in 1v1s and Beastie in team games. You make it sound like Core never loses 1v1s. Now, if you checked this channel last week, you believe that. But if you check this channel this year, we have evidence that it's possible for him to lose. But Beastie, I don't know about Beastie. I haven't seen that team game. So I can't comment on that one. In teammates, in theory, when you can stick one unit, it makes sense, right? Like if you're just kata, and you're up against mass knights, plus you've got the camel debuff. I think this could work, but I don't, without discrediting what Jigglypuff's going to do, I don't want to put all the credit there. I think a big part of the credit goes here. This is why I like Abbasis so much. That's why I said they're ban-worthy. What you get in terms of the unease is insane in this matchup. Because half of the enemy army is going to be countered by camel unease. The question is, what's going to counter these men-at-arms? Because here's the thing, you built Cataphracts, but if Heavy Maces is on the way, you actually don't have a counter to that, right? The Cataphracts will just get annihilated, even with their chunky health balls. It's kind of like diving into spears, you just die. Okay, she's not going to front line. I'm a little bit surprised that Kyo actually went for the two-handed over the Heavy Maces. Mr. Munch is going to stand his ground in his choke points. Minimizes the spread here. Kershik's with the assist coming in from Jigglypuff, and those are vetted up already. Cataphracts also chunky as a front line. They need to get some assistance, though. Right now, the Canadians have not entered the party. And Joan is also farming this up. Lumber, notice that he's up against mass archers, but Mr. Munch, he never got the snipe out. Yeah, so Joan is just farming XP. Look at the pace of this. Usually this is very difficult to do with Joan up against English. He's going to get sniped out in the end by the town center, but the damage isn't already done here. The dive continues. Mr. Munch has been picked apart. He has no standing military. Puppy Paw only has 9. Collectively as a team, they have a third of what the Vietnamese have. Yeah, no, this is looking as doomed as the last time the Americans tried to attack the Vietnamese. I don't see them holding on here. The men-at-arms flood in particular scares me. They have at least got Onimusha coming through, but I love the fact that Mia Maker played into archers. This is the make or break element. You've now got Puppy Paw trying to add in archers, but realistically what they needed is time and camel archers, or a tech up into camel riders. I would argue camel riders would have been the most go-to obvious choice here, but I think Puppy Paw might be lacking the food, but also lacking the time to get that composition online. See, baited you guys for a sec. Oh my god. I need to stop clicking that button. It's in such an obnoxious position. So Mr. Munch is dead, and now we talk about the 3v4. In fairness, it is triple castle age, so mathematically the numbers equate the same. If you take the collective age of both teams, in terms of tech, they are the same. I don't think that's how Age of Empires 4 works, though. To find out. Actually might be about to be mathematically worse. Jigglypuff is also now in trouble. Heavy harassment on him. TC Garrison, the rest of the eco had to migrate away, but the Knights are rippling over. They're starting to arrive in the base. The Wallol forces a delay, but it starts to feel like they're running out of safe room here. Vuvan is going to have to shuffle off because of the Onimusha. Now, the Canadians are untouched, guys. You could argue that America was simply the welcome rug for the Canadian powerhouse. But we've seen the Vietnamese are fantastic at syncing up in these team games, right? So if your plan was to always be in essentially either a 3v4 or a 2v4, no matter how good of a player you are, there are limitations to what you can do. And you have to remember, these players in the Vietnamese squad aren't pushovers. Mia Micah has been in top 100 multiple times. Vuvavan, Lumber, both been, I believe, top 200 in 1v1s. Kyo has been in the top 80 on multiple seasons from what I can recall. And we've seen how capable they are then when you see them in a team environment where these names can easily always be seen in the top 100. Pressure is on for Puppy Paw. I mean, he has at least got the benefit of composite bows, right? Yeah, he just hasn't got it yet. How interesting. At 24 archers, I think that does start to pay off as a tech choice, right? It's a 33% increase for the cost of about, what was it, 5 archers? 6. It's on the way now. Behind this, though, tech up is also on the way for the Vietnamese. Vuvavan looking to reach into H3. Archer count's still looking good. Now, keep in mind, actually, if Vuao Lang, aka the purple player, Mia Mudke, if he goes for H3, Kurotai can offset a decent amount of the value you get from the composite bows. Composite bows is still better because there's a 33% attack speed increase versus a 25% increase from damage, or 20%. But the difference is also the healing, which balances out further. So it's quite neck and neck. The logic is meant to be that the Abbasid archers still win because they shoot so hard, there's so many shots coming out, they overkill, right? So a little bit of heal doesn't make a difference. And Lumber, I don't know what to say to that. It's a big map. You lose track of these things. Flank attacks are coming in now, though, folks. In arms. Look to clash. Wham. Does get surrounded. Nice little pinch there on the Mount Samurai. God. You know what? Can I just hear that closely? Wall up something. Yeah, even when you're zoomed in, I feel like the noises in this game should be louder. Obviously, I've turned mine down a bit, but I just feel like, I don't know. The Men-at-Arms wallop feels good, but it's almost like it doesn't feel as meaty as it should. You know? Like, give me a noise that really makes your toes curl, guys. Like, you know, for me as a Dota player, it's when you've stacked a camp and your carry comes to, like, pick it dry, and you get that chingling of cash. Oh, I can hear it now in my brain. It's so nice. Do we have that in AoE4? I guess Ottoman players have great bombards. English with volley, maybe? Buckport throwing quite the volley the way of the enemy team. This is a 3v1 right now. He may have overextended. The Men-at-Arms already reached in. The Knight's full up as well. Could be big damage here. Puppypaw, he hasn't got that many crossbows. Only 8 in this formation. Archer's also chasing as well with the Yam. It's going to be a quick gap close. So Puppypaw now forced to 4v1. I mean, he needs some assistance fast. Wham is slowly scaling up their Onimusha. But he's busy mirroring on the flanks, right? Trying to cover their escape plans here. Trying to prevent these flank rotations out the double French players. Speaking of which, it's now double French in Castle Age. Soon to be 4 for the Vietnamese. Mr. Munch is still nothing. Sorry, mate, but it's got to be said. You've got a grand total of 14 villages. Now, it's kind of funny that I keep saying Abbasids are OP, and now that I think about it, they've lost most of the matches we watched. I still stand by what I say. They are really, really powerful in team games. I just think that typically they're being over-greeded. There's too much greed around them, or they're not being played aggressive enough in some cases, right? Like, if you have an H3 player, let him tech, and you should be building Camel Archers and playing a long feudal. Dude, is he actually doing this? There's no way, right? He makes up half of the total military power of his team. Cataphracts are also here, by the way, guys, which I don't see a great counter to. There's no spears, there's no mass crossbows. So if Jigglypuff just shows up, but he's busy doing other things, what? He's trying to flank raid. Oh man, I think they need him as a front line here. Still, he has baited away a lot of the Knights, so maybe Puppypaw can still hold on. Another kind of weird detail is we don't have a Khan Hunter, which is surprising. That extra attack range does really matter. With the Yam plus that, you could kite this Mass Archer from Puppypaw. Yeah, a bit of a missed trick there. Oh my god. So you might, if you look to the left side of the screen, you'd think we're watching a 3v3. If you look to the right, you think it's a 4v4. How often do you see, like, only 3 colors on this bar? Oh man, I feel so bad for Mr. Munch. He's a good player. It's just, you're the front-facing player in a full aggro lineup, right? Like, it's a 4v4 where your lineup is greed and the enemy lineup is attack. This is almost always going to happen, folks. But, you know, had Mr. Munch got himself some of those protein shakes and also some of those meal replacements, he would have been lean enough and buff enough in the muscly department to punch them back. Don't make his mistake. By today. Keep drop now coming in. Puppypaw is doing whatever he can to re-secure Mr. Munch's base. Is it going to be enough, though? Cataphracts have now arrived. Pretty tanky. Doesn't really feel that tanky, though. With the Kurotite effect, these archers hit surprisingly hard. 4 to 10 damage going through. We had to deal with the initial Care Shakes, a few of the Cataphracts as well, but once again, they're being pushed back, and once again, they're being raided as the Onimusha from Wham on the flanks is now starting to tickle away at the economy. Good reaction coming in, though. This is sick. Jones Riders, better than Horsemen, folks. They're more tanky. They have more effective HP due to the ranged armor. They admittedly don't get any bonus damage is the only downside. But they are an effective tank unit. So you can kind of frontline with these and then back it up with Horsemen. Oof. And Joan is starting to farm it up a bit, right? That level 3 being online to confirm that. I can't believe this. Guys, he's actually doing this. Puppy Paw is holding back 4 players while going Imperial Age. My jaw's about to drop, man. Archers immediately snipe out the Mango. The men-at-arms Akio don't seem to be doing it anymore. He's trying to play for Imperial Age instead. Krotite is going to be backed up by Miyamaika, who, by the way, does not have a Grand Army anymore. 6 crossbows, 6 archers. Archers never feel like they're overextending either, right? There's just so many of them in the attack speed as well. This army is not big enough. Not strong enough. The Cataphracts as well, getting ready for a run-by. And they get the charge through. Nice cycle across there. Baits the attention. 6 on top of him. Puppy Paw should be able to assist with this. Unfortunately, the heavy maces slapping a bit too hard. For Cataphracts, this is like diving into a line of spearmen. However, Mounted Samurai are now here. Wham! Making it now into a 3v4. Still, because Mr. Munch, bless him, has not built that TC back. He's trying. He's almost back in the game. The game might actually be over before he gets back into the action, though. Oh my god. What a game. Mr. Munch has been slung some food, so we might be seeing him go castle. Probably going to be the King's Pass to recover. He's already got a keep here to assist him. So we will see a TC float just in case they need him down the line. Because realistically, if you're not able to end this game quick enough, the population of the Vietnamese squad will blow beyond 600. And when it does that, that's when you need Mr. Munch to appear. For now, though, population blowing feels difficult. Man. All right, guys. Archers may be a big problem now. No bueno. I mean, mangoes don't really count them anymore. Especially Abbasid. Okay, no, guys, this is actually really important to highlight. Abbasid archers in particular are kind of busted. Because they're a better attack speed, they're very good at efficiently dispatching mangoes, even if they dive into them. Because think about it, like, they attack so quickly that not many shots are going to come out from the mangoes, and the mangoes have less splash now. Oy, oy, oy. Splash of blood on the Byzantine cavalry here. Nice grab, blocks the horseman from retreating. This is sick. White Tower for some reason on the way. Pink doesn't actually want to play for the Eco Boom. He wants to get present and able on the action. Oh my god. This is only game 1. I don't know how you exceed this. I'm trying to think where it all went wrong for Team Vietnam. Maybe they just didn't have the double down. It felt like they were a little bit too committed to the central dive instead of the flanks, and then didn't seem to react accordingly when the Onimusha came out. I mean, we've been saying Japanese Onimusha feel ridiculous in team games. Maybe that's just a tribute to them. But yeah, tributes now to be played in blood. Elite Archer upgrades are in. I wouldn't be surprised if we're rushing in Scenario Arrows here. Economy, man. He almost has more villagers than free players on the enemy team. He might soon as well if they keep finding targets on these flanks. Things have suddenly slowed down a surprising amount. I think the issue for Puppy Paw is the dive is getting a bit too deep. So he's diving into enemy replenishment, and also his replenishment is further away, right? Which leads to worse trades over time. You know, it's kind of a classic when we talk about team games, this whole idea of build more forward buildings, silly, right? Like, so many games we see that way, it just doesn't happen. Because it feels unnatural, right? You build out from your base where your villages are. You don't build halfway across the map. Like, that's for the proxy boys who do it at 5 minutes in. Okay, so Munch is going to basically build 20 trebuchets and go shattering projectiles. Hey, that can win a game, guys. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently shattering projectiles is pretty good now. Jigglypuff. Oh, bloody hell, I'm impressed. This guy's base was decimated, but now he's on the way to age 4. Bad news for the Vietnamese. I don't think they were expecting this entrenchment here. So White Tower. Is it going to be able to push this away? The archers are struggling now because they leap men-at-arms. They only take 1 damage. Oh no, Puppy Paw. He didn't get ensnare arrows, and he also didn't get the +3. So the extra ranged armor layer proving effective. And Q, he doesn't even have Elite Army Tactics yet. Some assistance is needed. Camel Riders now starting to arrive. Pretty good against the Knights, and also chunky enough to just frontline against anything here. Crossbow Archer backline may be abandoned. I mean, this much cavalry could just chase Purple down. Walls are also up now, so these flank raids don't really come in anymore. Everything is going to be funneled down the center where the White Tower is. Puppy Paw prepping another keep. Mass Mount Samurai, Mass Onimusha. Should be able to shove this back. The Kurotai, I've done it again, sorry guys. The Kurotai, definitely a nuisance in this position. Is it going to be good enough though? That damage is... Oh my god. What? That's wild. He's getting +4, right? Yeah, +4 from that. He still doesn't have Elite Army Tactics. If Q just gets EAT, this is an easy win. Veteran Archers diving in. They need to buy some time. The Cataphracts are now here. Now, they could dive onto the back line. There's not many crossbows in there, but you need to peel the men-at-arms first. Instead, he goes to the easiest dive through. Just piles on top of the first wave of MAA. White Tower is about to flop dead. The keep drop coming from Puppy Paw is going to be a big doubt failure here. Unable to get it up. This is getting so messy. Zhone also getting close to level 4. The Vietnamese may have just found a new breath of life. And her name is Zhone de Blast. Activate it. 1 button's all it takes. He just needs to get them in position for the fight. The Valorous inspiration of an army this big would melt the entire American Defense Force. Castle now being torched down. Are you kidding me with this game 1? The comeback into a comeback. Mangoes also getting juiced up on the attack speed there with the Valorous inspiration. They're starting to shake. They're starting to fold. And I'm not sure they'll be able to hold here. Kurotai unable to unpack. They can't afford to give over any more ground. Check the farmlands. Jigglypuff is going mass cataphract. He needs this. He can't go without it. And they are just 1 screen away from denying him it. I think the only thing keeping them alive truly is the Canadians with the mass ranged element here. In these choke points, ranged is better for defense, right? But still with his limitations. Incineroar is at least there now for Puppy Paw. Nice. Oh, I'm going to look to Psycho Charge in even deeper here. The Cataphracts going to find themselves cruelly outmatched up against the veteran Royal Knights. Yes, you heard that correctly from Nage behind. These boys should be able to fight, but weirdly enough, hesitation setting in there. Lumber decides to back away instead. Just wants to reinforce on the west side, right? Commit with the army. Commit with the team. Nice, I wonder, do they just go for the back line now? It's always dicey when you're against the Bastards, right? Targeting eco doesn't always work as well as you'd think because they just have so much of it, right? It's not like your typical game at this stage where if you just find a big hit into like a Jigglypuff, oh no, 20 villages gone, that's substantial, I can't replace that quickly. Puppy Paw could lose 50 villages and have them back in 4 minutes. That's the Ambassador power, right? Free TC in this game, but could always have been more. Canadians are starting to hold. I shouldn't say the Canadians, the Americans as well. They seem to have staved off the push. Now, this is what we highlighted before. It's the whole idea of production position, right? Like, it takes a long time now for their troops to get here. Similar to the issue that Puppy Paw ran into the other way. Farms are semi-shut down, though, for Jigglypuff. You saw him slung the food recently. You're seeing the effect it's having. He only has 4 military units in the field and 5 more queued up. Yeah, at this stage, you've basically got 2 players not contributing. This is now a 2v4. Trade also being set up behind this, so they will have the longevity. That's already been done on the other side. So Jigglypuff, that's where he was getting the good stuff. I mean, this is smart. For the Cataphract comp with Keshix, it makes a lot of sense to go traders, right? Olive Oil to get more Keshix, and then you've got the gold that you need for Caddis. And then you get extra Olive Oil here. So it gives you this really cool balance of resources to allow you to kind of more or less 50-50-ish Cataphract and Keshik production. Or I should say more like 35-65, right? Which is still really good. Also, keep in mind, Jigglypuff builds even more Cataphracts than that because he did go for this landmark. Palatine School, that if your RNG is good enough, is broken. Because remember, it's a 30% chance every sport. Which means, technically, although the probability is low, it is theoretically possible to get 20 Cataphracts extra for free. Just think about that for a bit. I've marked this. I think I said it when Sons Ascend came out. That will happen in a pro game, and it will make someone rage quit AoE 4. And no, that's not the announcement. I've had the sun already. The announcement is coming in just under 2 hours. Castle the Crow now on the way. I wonder when Wham's going to be able to reach up. The Onimusha are going to be big here. Also, a hand cannoneer transition would be huge. A little bit tricky when you're up against Masked Knights. Arguably, Onimusha is just better. But you could have that flexibility. We've seen how powerful the hand cannoneers the Japanese can be due to the Yumi Bannerman giving that +5 extra damage. Puts them a tier above most hand cannoneers. In fact, in theory, if the Americans can navigate the waters here, Team America has a really strong late game from the 2 players that have been beaten up. Oh, sorry, one of the players has been beaten up. And one of them that's just been boomed at the back. Because Wham can go hand cannoneers, but the English also do that really well with the attack speed. What's going on? They need to buy some more time. Mount Samurai, we salute you. I mean, that should be enough time. I don't think you can actually burn the wall quick enough because torching walls is just dumb. I don't know why they even let us do it. It just feels like it's pointless 99% of the time. It's on the way, guys. Berkshire just got queued up. Very retracted Berkshire here as he's realized he'll never be reclaiming his main base. I mean, I don't know what could give him that idea that he'll never get his base back. Does anyone see anything on the screen that might indicate Mr. Munch is not going to be able to make it home? I think it's more about what I don't see on the screen. And that's a base. Poor guy has built up in the back, though. 4 TC right against the edge of the map. Yeah, if you look at the mini-map, these guys are building like the people we see in our Bronze League Legends series. Up against the edge, right? But it's because they want to be as far away as possible from the action. Comet pass now on the way. Lumber should be teching up soon as well, so it's about to be quadruple imp on both sides. This game is not going to end. Oh my god. But you know what? This is the way I would like a game to not end. It's not ending because it's so absurdly back and forth. These are the games we dream of. They're going to slow down a little bit here. It seems they're running into a bit of a stalemate in the base of the Byzantines again. Yep, just in case Mr. Munch didn't know he lost the TC, let's destroy it again. I always love that about aging up. Yeah, I don't think, like, Puppy Paw was like, I have enough time for a best of 3 only. I don't know if that's the case anymore, buddy. I think you might only have time for a best of 1. Because this game shows no signs of letting up. Trade has begun rather to bulk. Do I need to have another rant about trade? No, I've done enough in videos in the last few days. We're reaching that stage. The likelihood of a quick conclusion to this game is shrinking before our eyes. I mean, these fights are grand, right? And I love that we got to them, but you know what, actually, like this is perfect for the portfolio of why like trade needs to be nerfed. Because all these epic fights happened not so much because of the trade. Admittedly, like with Jigglypuff, yes, but for the most, trade wasn't online when we had these epic fights. But now that we have trade coming online, the losses aren't going to amount to much. Because you can get to a stage where you lose 40 knights, and it's kind of like Le Shrug. You build up 40 more knights by the time they reach your base, and then they lose theirs, and they have to Le Shrug and trade build up 40 knights to their own, right? Or camel riders, or whatever it's going to be in this situation. So it's a bit of a weird matchup when you reach this phase of the game. Walls are also in, which means it's very difficult to get these dives to do any real damage. Luckily for Team America, it's only Palisade walls. Van. Chunky boys now with the Elite Royal Knights. Already has the Royal Bloodlines as well. Puppy Paw, I mean, the archers have served him well, but he knows he needs a bigger transition. Camel Riders are being queued up, but he needs so many more. His bros on the way, though. Wham arriving with the Mass Onimusha, a handful amount of Samurai. Should be enough to scare him away, and you notice the bail straight away from Vuvavan. Wants no part of it, says Mia Micah. Pats him on the shoulder and goes, all you, buddy. Yeah, Mia Micah even needs to go into, okay, purple, needs to go into like probably Mangadai or Hand Cannoneers here. This is not a cost-efficient trade anymore because the cost efficiency doesn't come from the unit cost, it now comes from the population. Crossbows at this stage in the game just die way too fast. I just don't know what you're meant to do against these archers at the end of the day. I mean, the men-at-arms, right? Like, they have the elite army tactics now. But I need to remember, I think I said, my apologies, I think I said earlier about them getting more HP. Remember, they don't get that anymore. They get the melee armor, the +4. So HRE in the hyper late game, at least in team games, because they'll always be building men-at-arms, aren't that good. I mean, unless you're against horsemen, but let's be real, that's not your problem here. Your problem is mass ranged. So we'll go to shove them back. Numbers are shrinking a little bit, but Mr. Munch is almost ready to enter the battle again, folks. Look at it. 123, and why does the UI keep doing that? Up to 123 now, so he can think about adding in military. Actually contributing to this game. I feel bad saying that. Mr. Munch literally contributed his entire base. He threw his body on the train track for the team so that they could thrive, right? While he was down in the coal mines, they were busy making the factories. They were busy milking their money. You know, this meta is kind of a buff to Zhone, right? Because more people are going to build ranged, and our range reduction is still really strong, right? That's intriguing. Also, Raw Bloodlines got buffed. Yeah. I don't know if this is good enough to make Zhone good, but it's kind of intriguing to think about, no? I love how these changes have so many implications that aren't clear at first, right? Like, I do think it's weird the Horseman kind of got pseudo-buffed. Crossbows, of course, having more relevance in the Imperial Age is going to be intriguing. Hand Cannoneers being more situational is cool as well. Go bombard for sniping it? Dude, you just use the Culverin. So weird watching Culverin siege buildings. They could do it, but they would only do 35 damage per strike. Now remember, Culverins are simply what some Civs bombards look like. So this isn't Hio memeing, this is how he sieges buildings. I'm getting a little bit tired of only seeing two colors from Team America in these sites. Last time I checked, the American flag is red, but it's also white and blue. Wait, is it? I'm not American, I don't need to know that. I'm not going to be tested on this. There's at least 3 colors, right? And finally a third color comes in and it's going to be pink. Mr. Munch. The first of many men-at-arms. They're all on the way. Look at those armor values. And he, by the way, does not have elite army tactics yet. Not that it would matter because he's up against mass crossbows. Hey, what is it? Red, white? Is it red, white, and blue? It is, right? I can't picture it in my brain right now. Yeah, red, white, and blue. Why was I getting concerned with that? This is where I'm going to get like a chatty American like, we'll remind you of the color when we invade your island. Good luck. There's a reason England was able to exist for all these centuries. Anytime we were threatened, we ran back to our island. Who's winning this game? 1066, that's because we wanted to be just French enough that we could invade them later. It was all intentional. There's so many Onimusha, but like they have their limitations, right? Also, another big thing is we have the Khan Hunters now. That was something that was missing for most of this game from me and Micah, but that extra range really does matter. And it hasn't been fixed? Arbitrator can get 7 tower range. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Well done, no. Alright, yeah, Mongols is broken in team games. More than Abbasids for this reason alone. Like, if this got fixed, like I think Abbasids is better, but this works with all ranged. Right? So if you build Arbitrator, you've got Zhone to give the attack speed. You've got a Khan Hunter to give the +1 range. It's ludicrous. Because then if you Pavis, you get an extra +1 range. You go up to 7. What am I seeing? Jigglypuff, like a true American, has too much oil. Has to do something with it. Oh my Gideon. I think they're pushing him back. The ranged army is just better. It's crazy because like you should have the move speed, you should have the range, right? But the attack speed, and then with enough the move speed with the Onimusha, it's just eclipsing this. And it's going to take a while to get the conclusion, folks. Like, even though I say the game looks over now, it's probably going to take him another 5 or 10 minutes to actually conclude that. Which offers plenty of time for another comeback. Wait, how many comebacks are we now? So Puppy Paw came back, then the Vietnamese came back again. Now they came back. Okay, so we are 3 comebacks in. Can we make it a 4th? Oh my god. I think this might be the most back and forth 4v4 I've ever cast. And that's saying something, because I've cast a lot of 4v4s. Now, this is the stage in the game where usually you look and go, who's building a wonder? Roll your eyes slightly. They can't. They can't because of Gorge and the way it spawns. This is a preview of how good team maps can be when they're designed for team play. When you don't just spawn everyone against the edge of the map where green and orange are. Now, admittedly, pink and orange have ended up there, but that came over time. That came at a cost. It didn't just happen because that's the way the map spawned. This is how good team games can be. Whereas most team maps are we ready to build the wonder yet, Tim? No, 5 more minutes, I've got a builder's break. Right, like that's not fun. That's not engaging. This is. Push continues. Cataphracts with a charge through, disintegrates the siege. I think they're growing. 250 to 180. And the quality is undeniable, right? The archers, the Mongols are building are worse. The horsemen are terrible. The cataphracts are pop efficient. Red Palace is alive for the time being, so that's a big threat. They need to get some bombards up. Instead, they decide they want to go around. Attempted break on the wall. Govan tries to move in, but a small retinue of Mount Samurai were held in reserve. Now, one thing that is missing here is Wham doesn't seem to have the Uma Bannerman, which is a big mistake at this stage. Your damage is already at 18, right? So it's a substantial increase having that additional buffer there. Cataphract, we've been here before. Yeah, but you can't stop him because he can just trample through him. Oh. You know what? This Civ was built for those that like to ego chow. The Cataphracts are beating the Knights. We reached that point, folks. They really hit that hard, and they really have that much more HP. 378 compared to 526. And now it's time to go hunt. He's looking for that trade. He wants to slow things down on the reproduction of these armies. French players at this point are taking in turns to hold back the wave. However, it's only working because the Cataphracts weren't here. But check this. Jigglypuff already with the second wave. Dives the back line. Archer's no longer efficiently trading. It's turning into a massacre quickly. On the backside, so many units have to chase this. And even then, it's still going to be eco lost. Can a frag charge through? He could get cheeky with this. Instead, he's going to engage. He could have kept running and kept cycle charging Kata when it was off cooldown. Isn't interested in that, though. This Red Palace is, weirdly enough, keeping them alive, by the way. There needs to be some siege ASAP. A lot of units are being lost to this because it's got 15 archers garrisoned inside. That was a really smart play. Those are mere Micahs. Because yellow doesn't have any archers, right? So they've intentionally left 15 pop in there because then you have the medieval Gatling gun to play with. I cannot wait to build this new PC. I don't know if they're going to clean up this type of starter, but you just see how crazy it gets when everything is popped in team games. The enemies actually get a little bit of room to breathe here. Their eco is bigger. Hence why the military number is smaller. I wonder if the play is still archers or camel riders. I think camel riders makes a lot of sense. You don't want to go camel archers due to the fact your opponents are building horsemen, but camel riders are very tanky, very good effective HP. The issue is then who provides the range. I think like your ideal world is Mr. Munch stops building men-at-arms and starts building longbows. Gives you the max range like trade out. Hand cannoneers could work as well, but you'd only be countering like the men-at-arms primarily because remember they changed the tech. Serpentine powder now gives you bonus damage versus infantry and movement speed increase. Yeah, I don't know. I think Mr. Munch's strategy is Season 8, and this isn't how English should be played now. It's not that he's not contributing, it's just that it feels like he could contribute more if him and Puppy Paw switched roles. Maybe I'm wrong about that because obviously Abbasid are so good with their archers, with the attack speed. Well, in fairness, Wingard Rangers did get nerfed, but yes, the Khan Hunter would affect them, which would essentially revert the nerf. However, I believe they decreased bowstrings from 2 range to 1, right? I'd have to double check in a university. But I'm pretty sure bowstrings... Oh, sorry, no, it is still 2. Yeah, so... But they decreased the extra range on walls. Which means I think you go to, is it 11 tile range? Wingard are now at... Wingard range is at 8. Khan would take you to 9. And then you get to 10 with Stonewall. So you would be at the range of a keep. But it's an improvement over the memes that we saw in the preseason, where Wingard Rangers could outrange static defenses entirely. Even HRE Relic Garrison once, I believe. I never checked, actually. Like, how many relics did he get? It doesn't really matter because he didn't go for the Regnants. 6? Okay, that's pretty good. So Kyo has plenty of gold to go with, but he also has trade being set up, I believe. Oh my god, this game's going to end with a wonder. After all that praise I gave to how this is how team games could be, it's still going to end with a wonder. I mean, it has to at this rate, right? Like, it's quicker than trying to meat grind this. Because the meat grinder just got some oil, some new oil put in on the cogs. It just got the latest lubrications. It's got a new motor installed. The meat grinder is not going to break anytime soon. Well, actually, I just said that. Where is the arm? Do we have gold issues? Well, Wham is starting to set up trade, but I don't think he set up that much trade, right? Okay, he's got 13 total. He should be safe. What is going on? It looks like something happened here. Is it because they went for a raid? I don't understand where their military is. They have 269. Nice, but it's not here. Where is England? Oh, no. You can't be serious. He has at least built some forward Raxes here, but the problem that I'm seeing is Mr. Munch. A lot of his production is back here, and he selected all production, so he's been queuing them up out of the furthest away production buildings, which is leading to these big gaps in their push. No! If they lose because of this, and he realizes he might not forgive himself, this is wild. I I mean, I've been there. I'm that type of player, right? Like, if you're a 1v1 player, you're that type of player. You're more than often than not use to select all military buildings because the map isn't that big. But anyone who plays team games or plays free-for-alls frequently will tell you, you need to have a control group for these. You can't just select all military buildings or this happens. Looks like they have at least finally arrived, so things are going to be reset. Horseman spam now come from Puppy Ball. He needs it against the hand cannoneers because we have got the French building hand cannoneers. And he's got the Serpentine powder, 20% movement speed for 1.5 seconds after firing. And of course, the +8 damage versus melee infantry. So this is what I was talking about, why England shouldn't be going mid-arms, right? That this is even more justification now for Horsemen. Remember, Horsemen can counter hand cannoneers now. They're a lot better than they were in the previous patch. Wow, look, a Mango. Wow. Okay, I've flamed Mangoes enough. I was like, no, KP, you'll get them buffed. I try. I do try. Well, if you like this type of entertainment, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I mean, I don't know why you guys aren't already following it. Make sure you got those notifications turned on. The game isn't about to end. I just figured this game has got 2 more hours, so we might as well take this moment to remind you all to do that if you haven't already. It's like one of those little pop-up subscribe buttons, but I'm too lazy to add that in post-editing. Looks like they actually are going to be throwing away Purple's army. His gold reserves aren't looking that good either. The other big one to look at is Yellow. Yellow has at least got 1.5k. And he's got 45 hand cannoneers. And... What? Wham! Bam and thank you, ma'am. He snuck all the way around the back. And has been spamming Mount Samurai over here. Oh my god. This could be the detail that wins it for him. This base has been spotted, but it has got cannon emplacements and has always got Mountain Samurai coming out. So Lumber's going to have a fast, aggressive reaction to this. Otherwise, it will start to cost them all. However, it's always a trade-off in these type of situations. And the trade-off is that Wham is no longer pushing the front side of their base. Red Palace also about to come back online. Yeah, this is especially where men-at-arms are really bad now. It's like you die so fast to Reb. It's a free hitter. It kills you in 3 hits. Cannon placements are trying to brutalize the Cav, but I think he might have brought enough numbers to this. However, the torch damage being heavily reduced means it's going to come at a pretty penny. Thanks to trade, though, you can always afford that penny. God, I'm so passive-aggressive about my trade opinions. Boys, I've got an announcement in under 2 hours. We can't be in this game forever. So, like, what is missing to break through here? I think it really is just full production. Because Mr. Munch is still producing from back here. So is Wham, actually. Like, a lot of them are guilty of this. On both sides, actually. Like, Green has at least built the full production here. That's better. I like that from Lumber. So he's prepped for hand cannoneer switch. Yellow's already there. The Mongol base... Where the hell are they coming from? Does he even have many? Oh, so I've got to check the number here. Okay, he has 15 archery ranges. Am I blind? Where does he have 15 archery ranges? 2, 3. Okay, they're scattered in really weird ways. But this is like a lesson for anyone watching who plays team games and you get in these situations. Number one reason you're in these situations, you forgot to build full production. It's the number one sin I see in team games time and time again. And sorry, guys. Best of 3, not best of 5. Remember, Puppy Paw doesn't have enough time. We might end up being a best of 1. Farms have at least been cleared up. Well played. Only one left. That delay could prove expensive. They need to force a fight now before they get rebuilt. I love the commitment to just taking out the marketplace. Doesn't care about anything else here. We have to be going Wonder. The problem is Mongols do it easier, right? Because you can just sling them the food, wood, and gold. There isn't enough stone. And it doesn't look like anyone's been buying stone. So your best course of action, even though these two players have all the food, is to sling it to Jigglypuff. Because Jigglypuff can, of course, build anything and get stone. Cats again. What's the missing pop efficient thing here? I think for Poppy Paw, it's Camel Riders. It's like what counts the ranged, right? For Mr. Munch, it's definitely hand cannons. And I think Jigglypuff already has the correct call, being on Cataphracts. Wham could go hand cannoneers, but I'm okay with Onimusha here, just because like you get outranged by the enemy hand cannoneers. And there we go. Boom! 33 Camel Riders queued up. So this is the thing that really was missing, folks. Forgot exactly how market gives stone. The rates are pretty rough. So you pay 178 gold to get 100 stone. Although they've already inflated the numbers in the other departments as well. Catas are in. Wait, hold on a second. They haven't reacted to this. Cataphracts, they're hitting the economy, they're hitting the trade. Oh my god. They're not reacting. They're distracted right now. This might be the big hit that was missing. Remember, every time either Wham or Jigglypuff tried this play, there were Knights to mirror. Finally, there's a handful in the way, but this army isn't that scary when you consider just how many elite Cataphracts are in the back here. Front line is looking ugly too. Another wave fails, another wave flops. Vuvavan down to just 20 hand cannoneers here. He's got no gold in reserve, and his trade count doesn't look impressive on the minimap. I'd guess about 15, 16. Actually, it was 15 when I flexed that. So it looks like Team America is getting ready to flex big. They've been bodybuilding in the gym. New wave arrives. The men-at-arms from Mr. Munch. Cannon placements aren't going to last long here. And the Elephants, with 14 ranged armor, absorbing every blow coming their way. Cataphracts are still going. The party has never ceased here, folks. It's now a clear and dominant eco lead of about 70. Militarily also ahead. Trebuchet starting to siege through all the buildings here. Mr. Munch has had to take more of a supporting role, pretty much beaten to the grinder, but Trebuchet is the premium element he can add to this. I can't believe this. It's happening again. Was this a 4 for the 5th comeback? I don't even know anymore. Let's just square it up to 4 in a 4v4. 4 comebacks in one game. But this one feels decisive. He's doing it again. Jigglypuff denying the marketplaces for what should surely be the final time this game, as the military lead is now almost 100. The economy lead is about to grow. And the gains into the enemy base continue to grow with it. Trebuchet is a little bit hesitant. Horsemen are shot and sharp, so be at least one more reset here. But Jigglypuff. No, I'm going to stop that now, because he ain't putting us to sleep. He's providing the entertainment here from the back and at the front. It's the tease package that's brought it all. Cataphracts now diving in onto the mass archers to keep them back. Horsemen not able to trade out efficiently enough anymore. More landmarks falling. All marketplaces have been removed. They are now idling traders. Over the capital gains they get from this, they can either invest in a house or invest in a win. Deeper than they've ever got before. They call it. GG comes out. Team America will take the first in this best of 3. And I do not know how the hell Game 2 is ever gonna match up to this epic experience. Oh my god. Wow. And that was only the first game. So I think the thumbnail is going to be pro player. Pro 4 versus 1s. And then best team game of 2024. I think that's, yeah. That has to be. Why is my PC lagging so bad? Oh, I know it's lagging because like when you stay in the after screen. Why do you have the Jigglypuff song queued up? What are you talking about? I don't have the soundbar that does that. Jigglypuff, Jigglypuff. There you go. Throat's a bit sore. Oh dear. Alright. One person just gained respect for me, 20 people just lost respect. I think that's how it works. Alright, guys. So, game 1 on the board for Team America. Good God. And there's still potentially 2 more games to go. God, I need to get some water, though. Like, my throat is feeling a bit rough because I looked down and was like, oh, I didn't bring any water. Because I'm a genius. So, the draft should be underway. Rocky River or Dry Arabia are the 2 options they have. Let me go ahead and have a look at this. When's the announcement? 16 minutes? No, hour and 16 minutes. Because 17:30 GMT is 18:30 my time. So announcement will be basically after this series, probably. Because we know how this goes. You get one epic game like that, and then the next one is really fast, right? Right. Probably. All right, guys. Be right back 1 sec. I'm going to grab some water. Alrighty. 1 game down, potentially 2 more to go. Game number 2. So, Mongols, Ayabids. I think this is just Dry Arabia, right? No, not with that draft. I have a feeling this is Rocky River because, like, I think Team America especially has a lot of civs that if they're on the flank closest to an enemy and they get piled on, they're in trouble. Like, China can get aped by 2 players pretty quickly. French doesn't want to be frontline. I guess Byzantines can. And Japanese have been known to hunker down and still fast castle with the pressure. But it does feel like more of a Rocky River draft out of the NA team. Let me have a look, because I think they're getting a lobby now. On the other side, I think Miyamika's draft makes sense for either map, to be honest. Because you play Dry Arabia, you could pick Mongols on flank. And actually, HRE aren't too bad on flank. Like, HRE can play feudal quite well in team games, funnily enough. And then Ayabid supports from the back with Desert Raiders, right? And French as well. It's like, considering the way that they played game 1, this could very much, from Miyamika's team, just be an all-in feudal Dry Arabia build. Oh, it did. We're getting so close to this announcement as well. I'm actually really excited for it. I mean, fingers crossed, man. Like, you know, it's one of the things, like, you know, it's always the challenge, like, when you are getting ready to reveal something. There's, like, how it is in your brain, and there's how it's received. What announcement? The announcement that's coming. What's that? Imagine if these mother duckers take so long in a BO3, the announcement is delayed. Oh, dude, I wouldn't be surprised after what we just saw in that first game. Especially if it's Rocky River. If it's Rocky River, like if it's Dry Arabia, Tua could be quick. Rocky River is one of the longest maps to play usually. Team games, maybe it can be a bit quicker. But I have felt recently on 1v1s, like the maps that have been delivering the longest games on average have to be Gorge and Rocky River. Rocky River just makes you feel very camped in and safe, right? Very, like, safe at your beginning, and then eventually you wall midway across the map, right? And then you kind of get the stalemate effect. Gorge has that kind of similar effect of, like, you either die in a few minutes or you're going to 40 minutes. There's not really an in-between. I really wish there was more Himeyama on the ladder than Gorge. Himeyama, I guess every player doesn't like it. You know, not every player, as in some don't like it because it's very aggressive. But the thing I've noticed is this late game, you know, feels less... like kind of entrenched usually. Not to say you can't get a campy game, but I feel like you less often get a campy game. Alright, where is this bloody game? Alright, it looks like the Vietnamese guys have set up the lobby, so Team America should be joining shortly. What do you guys reckon? Give your opinions. Do you think Dry Arabia or Rocky River based on the draft? I have a feeling that some of the players asked for like a 2-minute break after that game. I mean, that game must have been exhausting. You have to remember, like, it's competitive, right? So it's not just like your chill one. Like, imagine how intense you feel after a 50-minute game. But you're in a tournament format. Sure, you're not playing for millions of dollars, but you're playing at a competitive level. So, like, the endorphin rush, the adrenaline, these are real things that can actually burn you out really fast. This is where I go into my typical like discussion point I like to bring up about how there's been tests done on this as well, by the way, to show that like the adrenaline levels in a tier 1 esports player experiences at the highest peak is comparative to like an Olympic athlete competing. Teammates yelling at your Discord? True. Actually, I wonder how good RTS players are at yelling. Because like, I don't know, y'all kind of live in a calm and quiet place. It's not to say you don't mold or anything, but like, you know, you're not on mics usually, right? Because RTS is typically a 1v1 genre for the most. Because I'm thinking, I don't know if you guys have ever heard, for example, Call of Duty comms and Dota 2 comms. Dota 2 comms actually I think are a lot more calm. Call of Duty comms, Apex Legends comms are wild. Right? Like, I've heard Dota 2 comms. They can get hype, but, like, they're almost more chill, like it's a group of friends chatting. In Call of Duty, it's like, go B, rushing me, I'm going to be on the one side, come around. Yeah, like, it's almost like you're at a bloody auction. It's a whole different ballgame. I imagine with RTSs, it's a lot more calm as well. Especially AoE4. Like, I don't know about StarCraft in a team environment, right? Because StarCraft's pacing is a lot quicker. So what I mean by that is the things that could completely lose you a game that could happen in 10 seconds, there's substantially more things that fit that criteria than an AoE4, right? It's not to say you can't have that happen, but you get what I mean. Like the way the fight plays out and everything, you don't necessarily need to convey 15 pieces of information in 10 seconds. Whereas in like StarCraft, and I think Red Alert 2 kind of had that. Warcraft, not as much. I think Warcraft was somewhere between StarCraft and AoE. Like, it matters, but you probably don't need to yell over each other every second. Alright guys, so it looks like we're getting into lobby now, so we should be ready to go in a sec. If you haven't yet, by the way, consider following the channel. Looks like we've probably got a bunch of new people coming through. I'm noticing first-time chatters in the chat. We are live usually Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I am usually live a little bit earlier in the day as well, but this week, because I'm doing a tech conference, we've been going live around the same time we did today, so about 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours in the past. So we'll be live Thursday and Friday as well this week. And then next week, we'll be aiming to be live Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So do that on a weekly cycle. And also, a lot of these games get uploaded to YouTube. So if you miss them here, be sure you subscribe there so you can catch them later on. Hydrate. You know what? I think I will. Guys, you know what I've done here? Okay, so this is really cool. I've done this really cool test. So what I've got in here, you guys remember when I first started the Protein Works partnership, which, by the way, take advantage of this 75% off on a lot of their products right now. My code gets you an extra 10%. When we started this, I had the white chocolate and raspberry, and I saved a serving because I wanted to do a taste test of how well it holds up after, I think it's 5 months right? And I've been drinking this so far. That's why it's not as high as it normally is. It's still good. It actually holds up really well because I think that's another concern for people trying these is maybe I don't want to have them every day. Can assure you the Protein Works ones go the distance. I think they recommend like consume within a month or two, but they do hold up. The idea usually with these type of things is they can begin to lose a bit of their taste, but this one's still bloody tasteful. Practically as tasteful as it was the day I got it. Cheers. Yo, what's up, Pope Dears? Thank you very much for the Prime Gamer sub, buddy. I'm thinking of maybe changing the green text because I've been realizing recently when we're in game it doesn't pop very nicely for you guys. And I want to give you guys the correct justice for all the subscriptions you give. Oh, we need to pay out, don't we? Team America. 85% of the votes went there. But let's be honest, those who predicted them to win, how many were crapping themselves? They're like, uh-oh, they're going to lose. It's okay to admit it, because that was not on stable ground for a lot of it. Oh, good lord. Oh, throat's a bit rough again. I'm a little bit paranoid this week because my daughter clearly has the cold. So I'm like, I love you, but I'm going to have to go ahead and avoid you. XOXO? Bloody hell. I'm actually hot in here. You can tell when I've had like a hype cast because the room gets really bloody hot. Let's open the door for 2 or 3 minutes. When I start to not be able to think of my fingertips anymore, I'll know it. Oh, man. I feel good to be live. The only thing I feel bad about is that I had to skip out on bouldering entirely this week. Usually I go today, but I didn't want to do you guys dirty because, of course, we didn't have the Tuesday stream and new content, new stream. Got to get it. Some more good news in about a different thing we're working on. Oh, man. You know what? Like, 2024 has been a rough year for the first half, but I'm feeling positive about 2025. Maybe I should touch wood. Maybe it's too soon, but I'm getting some good vibes these weeks. Ah. All right. Let's continue the vibe, shall we? So Rocky River it is. We were correct in our assessment, right? It makes sense with China, Byzantines and whatnot. I'll set up the predictions and whatnot, and we'll start getting into caster mode at about minute 2. Unless there is a Mongol HRE rush, which is theoretically possible. But usually it's HRE that does that, not Mongols. And wait, have we got colors the right way around? No, we haven't. Let me flip that, and then let me flip the score. And then I'll get the predictions ready for you guys. There you go. They're up. For the north. For the north. Where do I want zoom? Probably about there. I don't know, dude. It's so weird with the camera level. You can tell that it clearly it's weird. Like on Gorge, free zoom in wasn't that that close, right? Because Gorge levels this. So this is, I think, default plane level. Whereas on Rocky River and certain other maps, you start higher. And that affects the camera start point. That's weird, right? Like, ooh, let me quickly flag that to the dev, because I don't like that. Don't you find it weird that the camera is attached to a fixed point and not to the terrain level? I check Dry Arabia and then Rocky River. It's 2 diff zoom levels. That's really weird. Wish Cust could zoom out a little more. I'm of the opposite opinion. I think quite often we're too zoomed out. I think Drongo said this recently in like an Age of Myth video, and he's really on point. There are a lot of situations where you're too zoomed out, and we've kind of become sport with it, and you lose a lot of the impact of the RTS, right? The beauty, the details, like everything you could absorb. There are situations where you should zoom out, like when you're looking at a big fight, yeah, you want to zoom out a bit and then zoom back in. But I don't know. I think there's a lot of time where I've been casting recently, and I feel a lot more inspired and engaged when I'm more zoomed in. I might have to zoom out a little bit because we're on Rocky River, though. I think we're probably looking at that instead of that, right? Also, the other thing that sucks is they just need to change the camera angle. Because the problem is it's too top down when you're zoomed out. All right. We just had one of the most epic team games ever played in the history of Age of Empires 4. How do they possibly follow this up? It's time to find out, folks. We are back with Team America versus Team Vietnam. That's right. Rocky River for game number 2. Team America leads. Team America, of course, built up of a stack line up here. Devils, Jigglypuff. You've got Puppy Paw in the red. Orange is going to be Wham again, once again on the Japanese, and Mr. Munch this time on the Chinese. On the other side, it is going to be Vu Outlang, aka Mio Micah of StarCraft and Age of Empires renown, in the green, playing as Ibids. Teal is going to be Kyo, another familiar sight here. Vuvo Van in the yellow, and then finally Lumber out on the flank as the French. Ooh, a little bit rough for him, actually. Being the French player, but being kind of more forward spawning is not what you want. You usually want someone that's a better defensive civ. Someone that comes to mind is maybe like Mongols, because they're more kind of hunkered in. That would have also given them potential opportunity to try and like do something of a rush play. Unlikely realistic on this map. HRE is also a really intriguing detail, because HRE on Dry Arabia and HRE on Rocky River play substantially different in team games. You guys may have noticed this recently. When you play on something like Dry Arabia, HRE is close enough that they can go for a Dark Age rush, they can go for a Feudal rush. Because we're on Rocky River, I think this is going to be a Castle rush from Kyo. You're just way too far away from any opponent to do real damage. And the closest player is one of the hardest to deal with, because it is going to be a Barbican building Chinese player here. Yeah, what was that? Was that 100% of the votes going to Team America? Not a single person believes. Aren't the odds really good if, like, the odds are that favored one way if you just put, like, 1 point on the Vietnamese? I mean, I'm just trying to min-max the bets here for you guys. Yeah, so roles in this team. We mentioned HRE to Castle. It's probably going to be green playing along Feudal with Mass Desert Raiders. That has been the meta so far. And in fact... well, that's a bit odd. I don't know. I've seen one or two other players do this in team games, but I think it's kind of weird. Desert Raider in Feudal over Eco or Logistics. I think both of these are better. So Eco Wing, because it gives you that initial inflation in the early game, right? 3 extra villages. And then Logistics, because it's just similar to the Abbey of Kings logic. You just have cavalry that need healing and you run around with them. The reason you do Logistics first is so you can do Growth Wing later. So the reason he's done Desert Raider now is because you can do Growth Wing later, but I just don't think the Desert Raider for free is as much value as Logistics. You're getting a free Desert Raider every 2 minutes. Alternatively, you can just have less Desert Raiders die because you have dervishes. So the weird thing is, like, Desert Raider makes sense if you're on a timing attack. But we're in a 4v4, and I'm not sure what kind of timing attack you could be going for, where one Desert Raider makes the full difference, right? This feels tricky. Oh, I love doing this when I've got, like, pro-level players in my chat. Yo, Krakeny, what do you think about this Desert Raider play? Do you agree with what I'm saying, or do you think it makes sense? It's fun. It's like I'm kind of having, like, a pseudo-caster there with me. It does feel somewhat out of place. Kia, of course, doing the classic in-place thing for HRE. Castle Age on the way. Other side, this Wham is rushing as well, as you'll always do with the Japanese, so there's going to be a relic race there. What's really going to come down to is what the French players can do. Right now, they're neck and neck, but both of them are looking for a very slight edge here. I'm impressed that Jigglypuff got that out of him. Manages to snipe the scout. Oh, wait, no, sorry, that's his... okay, that makes more sense. Wait, no, that is... yeah, I'm an idiot. That is Lumber Scout. So this is pretty surprising because the Desert Raider was there, right? And this comes back to the idea that this Desert Raider play was all about a timing attack. It didn't work. You could argue that it kept things closer to the enemy side of the map. Sure, granted. But you've already lost the scout. You haven't gained a military number advantage against the Knights. There is a Magadai follow-up coming, though, and this could be big. We've seen what Magadai can do in these type of formats, just driving between base and base and base. And also, against mass cavalry, Magadai do have the ability to stay ahead and away from you. I'm wondering actually, did we see any trade being set up early? Because I've seen this a few times where one player, especially the French players, usually start trading around 8 minutes, which sounds kind of wild, but I think both of them are paranoid right now because they are in a true French mirror on the west side, right? They are opposite each other. So if one of them begins to be greedy, the other one will get a slight edge that will get the win. So yeah, Lumber and Jigglypuff have kind of locked each other out of trade. The Jigglypuff is doing something cool and different. This is Pro Scouts. Okay, that's cool because on the other side, Lumber has already taken a risk moving out to the Deer. So very different approaches to the mid-game from the two French players in terms of economy. And you are seeing it correctly, guys. It's happening again. Only this time, it's from someone north of the border. Sistan at the first hill on the way for Puppy Paw. Seems to be in the meta, right? Makes sense when you think about it. Like Golden Horn Tower, I think Sistan's still a meme in 1v1s, but in team games, Golden Horn Tower, unless you're going to go Keshix, it takes way too long for your units to arrive. In fairness, I mean, in this game, he did, right? But with Cataphracts, because you want to play Cav, that's what it's about. In 1v1s, the gulping, I don't think it's as value as having the extra mercs, like Lombos and whatever, to support Varangian. But in a team game, you're not really going to be able to Varangian. The maps are just too big. Gulpers are supreme. I mean, if you want to be the supreme Gulper, you need to get your hands on Protein Works. That's how you do it. Chuck that bad boy down. Exclamation mark Protein Works. Take advantage. Killer Pigeon code. And what is up, Kendricks? Get that Prime sub in here. Welcome to the Swarm. What was that? 30 plus emotes for you to spam at your leisure. I think this will be an appropriate game if the K Big Nanny. Wallow? Ooh. Yeah, that's not an ideal start for Wham. He tried to take the safe relics, and that's not working for him either. We talked about the Magadai, right? Like, they're hard to counter. The idea with Magadai that makes him so good in this game is once you get a little bit of cavalry support, you spread the map. And usually, the players on the other side have to come at you from multiple angles, which means you can usually be piled on by double the player count, right? Which frees up space for your Night Civ, like the French, to then dive economy. Sandwich attempt is not going to work out there. Looks like Jigglypuff's not going to take the bait. Walls are starting to come up though, folks. So we will gradually move to this stage, the inevitable stage that you get on Rocky River. Mr. Munch only went 2 TC, which is a little bit surprising. A lot of players have been being greedy at the moment with China, going free song. But free song does demand a very high price on your food. And I think he wants Castle. Yeah. You don't want to be spamming Zhug here. The problem with Zhug is like you just won't be able to catch anything. So you want to be able to get into Castle Age and build Lancers because your only real point of value as China in Cavalry Wars is that you can be ahead of most civs on Age. Green. Ooh. So that's the strategy. Not even the Growth Wing. It's 5 Atabegs. Wait, this is just continuous Desert Raider spam. That's kind of sick. I love that, because usually the problem we see is we've seen a lot of Atabegs in Feudal Age into Mass Desert Raiders, but the problem is it just kind of fizzles out. It's not that potent. Because as your economy naturally gets bigger, you want to produce out of more than 2 archer ranges, and that means you're not really getting the health value anymore. 5 archer ranges worth of production is kind of wild. Cool play. We'll see if it pays off. Royal Institute is coming in on the other side as Texas is starting to come through. All of Team America are already in Castle Age. Kyo, he's going all the way up into Imperial. So that will give them the eco-inflation they're looking for, because they're lacking that right now. Right? Because like logic is H3 comes in on a delay. Meanwhile, on the other side, China starts doing it very early on. Zhug are going to be able to find the Magadai as well, so we're going to pull them down. In fact, one big problem here is Vivavan's Magadai count is quite underwhelming. He went 2 TC. That's really dangerous up against the Japanese like this, because Japan already has what they want. They're in Castle, they're going to build Onimusha, and now they're going to start approaching your side of the map. What happens when they arrive? Do you have mass Magadai to scare them away? Or do you all of a sudden just start losing teammates to the ranged Onimusha? In theory, you should be safe because of the Desert Raider spam, right? And I think that's what they're leaning on hard, is the fact that Ayabids feels really good in this matchup. Ayabids counters the French, they counter the Japanese, and they do a really good job of invalidating this mass Cataphract Keshik build from Puppy Paw. This is why I've been saying the Middle Eastern civs are low-key busted in Team Sangs. We mentioned Abbasis before because they eco-inflate, and they play a really strong army of feudal. Whereas the Iobids, it's not as much about immediately eco-inflating. It's just the fact that Desert Raiders are so good at trading in the early phases of the game, and they're units that scale really well into the late game. As the American team is now learning. Cataphract's just trying to ride far, far away here. I like this approach from Poppypool. Like, there's nothing you can do about the mass Desert Raiders. The best thing you can do is just try to hit the enemy economy. It is tricky, though, right? Like, you have the same movement speed. The start step animation canceling Desert Raiders have means they can usually stay with you as well. And trade is finally being set up. Only on one side, though. Jigglypuff is playing for it, and Lumber is sticking to the norm. Wait, what? Oh, that's awesome. I don't see this enough, right? It's not quite on the level of the old school Marlian slinging, but the difference there is like Marlians with the cattle, they have to pay to get that cattle for you, right? For the Mongols, they just pay for the pasture, and then over time, it's free resources. Lumber is going to take this opportunity with all the villagers there to build the runs to. So this could be a big advantage. Remember, we talked about the camel unease hurting a lot of what the West Side team is doing. But now you've got a bigger difference on top of that in the fact that you have French Mirror, but one side is playing for aggro and the other one is playing for greed. I mean, I say that. Has he built any yet? Only one. So maybe he's delaying his greed because it looks like Jigglypuff is trying to get castle before he begins this. That's an interesting play. Yo, that's actually a sick play. Because, guys, this is smart. Remember, if he goes Royal Institute as well, he can get merchant guilds in age 3. Which will give him the gold trickle from traders just walking. That's really crafty. I love that. Dive's going to come in the meantime, though. As the Poppypool look to punish a little. He goes just a little bit too consolidated right now. Desert Raiders are going to intercept the reinforcing Cataphracts. Not great there from Green, though. Staying in range mode, not worth it here. Remember, these units have full ranged armor. You do a mid-tickling, only 10 on the bow. Versus a potential 30. Yeah, so you can do over 3 times the damage. It's a huge loss of DPS. Jigglypuff. Nice Psycho Raid there. Not able to do enough against Kyo. I mean, I think he got maybe like, what, 4 or 5 villages, I'd imagine at least. Remember, it is Imperial Age. Past Swab is down line. It's tricky, right? Because like in team formats, especially when HRE rushes imp like this, the real value I've seen players get isn't by attacking the HRE player. It's by attacking all of his friends. Because if an HRE player is rushing Imperial Age, you just say, fine, you're not actually playing the real game. You're playing your own little game. It's like when an English player walls himself up in a corner. What do you say? You go, oh, so you're safe, but what about your teammates? Man, Jigglypuff has been really smart about this. Sorry, that sounded really condescending. Wow, Jigglypuff, smart. I thought they just turned up at the end of a Pokemon video. And everyone didn't like, no. He's actually been really calculated about his approach here and securing it first. I like how I say really smart, and then we've got idle traders, but they're on the move now. And this should be big. I imagine, if he hasn't already, he should have the merchant guilds on the way. No. That's surprising. Royal Bloodlines first makes sense, but I'm expecting to be queued up in a second. In the meantime, a dive comes in. Villagers! Get caught! Vuvovan has been culled! Jiggly's making the moves. Vuvovan is now going to move in. As is Green, Miyamika from the north side. So it looks like there's going to be a bit of a pincher, but the Magadai unable to body block, so will be a temporary retreat. However, with the movement speed, they should be able to stick to them, so the Magadai will be able to whittle down a few of these. But this is distracting a lot of army. Behind this, it's just consolidating trade, right? It's allowing them to get away with this because there's no mirrored move. On top of that, we have got a subtle TC at the back from Wham, and an Age 4 on the way for Mr. Munch, who is about to start participating in a very aggressive fashion. The Palace Guard count is increasing. Ooh, Palace Guard are kind of scary against Desert Raiders, right? Because Desert Raiders at this stage in the game are really annoying for Palace Guard due to all the armor. But once you go Imperial and you get the Battle Hardened with the Elite Army tactics, your effective HP in fights against Desert Raiders goes through the roof. And with Yuan Dynasty, they can't kite you with range form. They have to commit to melee. So yeah, China's kind of a really cool counter to this mass Iobig camel build. And that does alleviate some of the concerns elsewhere, because like maybe you get to a stage where you can force the green player to stop just building Desert Raiders. If that ever happens, all 3 of your teammates benefit. Pretty sure farms have the worst gather rate. They buff berries, right? So I think it's close. Berries might be slightly worse still. I'll have to double check the numbers. Another kind of interesting thought. The changes around food gathering text to nerf farms, in particular, in 1v1s, has led to French and Joan being even stronger in team games. And Joan and French, or at least French, were already meta for any team environment. Because they're a civ that can generate food elsewhere. They can use traders, right? Which is very cost efficient when you've got the guild merchants plus food coming in.
Yeah, not really sure that that was the correct way to go. I mean,
It does raise an interesting question about the way the game is balanced around 1v1s and rarely around team. Like, the game has only once been balanced around team games, and that was when they nerfed Magadai. And even then, I think that that nerf was a bit of a miss. This thing won't ever miss, though. Arbalest with perfect aim are going to be positioned in that red pass. So Ford secure, that's going to give him a lot of stone to work with, which means Jigglypuff could start to set up the Ford infrastructure for a proxy base. Lumber trying to fight against Cataphracts is never going to work here. I think they need Kyo to participate, right? He's trying, but this is the issue with Men-at-Arms. If you're running to defend your allies, you're always going to be late. So love this play instead. They're going aggressive. Green and Teal are making a move on Mr. Munch. Mr. Munch, he doesn't have much to work with. Only 18 Pulse Guard right now. He needs more. He actually needs Nesta Bees. Or an ally to assist. Reinforcements should start to be moving across now. We actually also have another TC from Wham towards the center of the map with mass berries. Love it. Lumber. Oh my god, he's a non-starter. He's been reduced down to 18 villages. The chip damage has truly added up. They need return fire, and they need it right now. This is going to be over, and it's going to be a 2-0. Military numbers, an overwhelming lead. 155 to 70. How much pain can they reap upon the Munch? How much do they munch down upon themselves? They're moving in now. That's also going to start to intercept the trade. Desert Raiders, Men-at-Arms in position, but the backstab is coming through. Wham and Puppy Paw, the Canadian pros, on their way to the rescue. Meanwhile, ripple effect here as the Knights of Jigglypuff cycle into the Mongol base as well, and over onto the farmlands of Kyo. Kyo can't afford to send anything back here either. He's got a timing in mind on this attack, and he needs to hit it. Can't afford to back off now, not until they've reduced Mr. Munch. Mr. Munch, only 5 to 10 military at any given time. Eco's starting to be hemorrhaged a bit, and in the meantime, looks like there's at least some reset, some reprieve, as Wham is able to shove away the Desert Raiders. However, that has pushed them into the trade route, because sometimes this happens on maps, folks. You can see that trade route isn't where it should be. I've seen this multiple times in the past. Most extreme one would be on the 80% water map, where it's all shallow water. It's kind of unfortunate. It means these Desert Raiders that shouldn't have been hitting trade actually got additional damage done there. And the ripple effect. Check the follow-up wave here. Kyo! You know what the best part about this is? Last game he had Burgrave, didn't really hit like a Burgrave. This time he went Regnitz, hitting like a Burgrave. So what do we take away from this, chat? Build Regnitz. Just build Regnitz. It's 8 relics. He has 8 relics. Good God. I mean, some people have to go down into a gold mine to earn their living. This guy just runs a Swiss bank. Good Lord. And he's starting to ripple into everywhere. Shuffles into the main base of the Japanese. Desert Raiders are still alive here. They're intercepting the reinforcements. The Pulse Guard numbers. Mr. Munch is essentially just burning resources here. They spawn, they die. They spawn, they die. They don't do anything. Doesn't even have the Yuan movement speed to speak of. There's no way, right? Lumber has built 2 additional TCs between his 2 teammates' bases. Now, this is really reminiscent of game number 1, just the other way around. Remember Mr. Munch was pretty much reduced down to nothing? This time it's happened to the Vietnamese. But, similar to Puppy Paw in game number 1, Kyo is flexing hard and strong right now. And the big issue, we talked about how Desert Raiders would counter everything that the Westside team was doing. The H3 Men-at-Arms also do that, right? The nerfs to Elite Army Tactics didn't really nerf them in this matchup because although they have less health, they have the same effective HP due to melee armor, or relatively around the same. On top of that, these are bonus heavy damage units. So they do 30 damage per strike against all these cav. And even the Palace Guard, right? So like 75% of the enemy's army, you can counter. This is getting out of control. 270 military now. This has pretty much all been teal and green. Mostly teal, right? Green's been camping the reinforcements quite well. The moment that yellow starts to show up here, which he's on the way, by the way, with 45 Mangudai. Looks like he's going to be intercepted, though. Good play there. Jigglypuff with the Elite Royal Knights. His goal isn't to kill as much as it is to absorb and buy time, because these are eco-killers. And the risk is that Kia right now is scouting everything. Nice blocker there, Jigglypuff. Meet the sheep. Jiggly's playing the sheepdog. So great interception there. Stops the dive through, because that would have eventually reached into the trade. Vuvavan, big mistake being made here. He's standing still. What? Finally realizes that has the movement speed arrow out there, but expensive losses for Vuvavan. And remember, these Mangudai, they aren't hitting that hard when they're up against Knights, right? They're still only vetted. No elite status coming through. Yeah, which means for those that want the full painted ugly picture, 1 damage. They're doing 1 damage against these Knights. And these Knights, by the way, have 378 HP. So, you know, it's reasonable. Only 378 attacks. So, you know, just a few quivers. In fairness, 378 attacks sounds like a lot. It's still very small compared to what you'd have to pay to get a mortgage these days. Wow, that hit close to home. Shout out to the viewer that's renting a tent in the middle of someone's apartment in London. You heard that's a thing, right, guys? Like, I don't know if people are still doing that. They were doing it before. They were basically setting up a tent in their living room and renting it on Airbnb. They were living. I guarantee whoever bought that was a Mongol player. White Stupid now on the way for that Mongol player. Mangudai, they're starting to reach. This could be big. He's on his way. There are no walls here. They walled east. They walled west. But they forgot about the center chest. He's going in. Attack speed arrow gets activated. Villagers, the Japanese, are going to be sacrificed here. But it's going to ripple onto the back where the trade is happening. Jigglypuff, who's going mass knights, needs this trade. And this is going to drag attention, right? Which is going to open up for a second wave. Deseret is in. They're doing it. We're getting it. A game 3 seems undeniable right now. There's just too much to manage here. Half of the military force of the Westerners and the American team is in Palace Guard, is in infantry. They don't have the ability to keep pace with this. Team Vietnam patiently awaited it. They found their strike back. It almost cost them an entire team member to do so. But with the Desert Raiders and Mangudai in position, they get the wave of the white flag, and we will get served up a game number 3. I mean, we talked about whether it could deliver or not. Did that deliver? What do you guys think? Was that the delivery? You know, are we just in the maternity ward right now? Like, I feel like we're just delivering babies one after the other in this series. I don't know what to call that one, dude. That's, it's wild, right? Because, like, one player virtually dead. They send the Hail Mary. Yep. I think that works. Wait, it's Hail spelled is H-A-I-L for Hail Mary, right? Yeah. Good lord. Such a fun game. Such fun games. Hell yeah, guys. It's delivering. All right, so the way this is probably going to play out is because we might still be in game when it's announcement time. So if that's the case, we will announce at the end of the game. But they should be getting the draft ready in just a second. Kind of intrigued to see what we're going to get actually in that deciding game. Whoopsie. I mean, that scene isn't wrong, actually. But let me just update this because we are now 1-1. Let's check in on the YouTubers. How y'all doing over there? This is pure chaos and it's amazing. Hell yeah. I've been really impressed with the quality of team games. You know, like a few things to keep in mind is obviously this UI isn't accessible everywhere, which is why we'll probably never cast team games on pubs. I think the maps quite often aren't doing the games the full justice they could have. So like we need better maps. We also need better optimization. Like, dude, I know I'm streaming. My PC's not the latest, but we'll find out. Like, you know, the plan is to build a PC. I'm hoping to make traction to do that in November, and we'll actually stream it all live. I've got a bunch of partners on board. I'll talk more about that when we get closer to it, but we'll be building a new PC. And then hopefully I'll be able to like up the quality that you guys are seeing on stream. And also we'll never get any lag or stutter at all in massive team games. But yeah, the main thing obviously is that we need a capture rate for team games. We're owed that in my opinion. And map design needs to start showing some priority around team games. Because you're seeing how good they can be. They are phenomenal. It's about a half an hour. Yes, it's about, so it is in exactly, what, 36 minutes? Yeah, dude, this PC has some issues, the current one I've got. Like, every time I have to keep resetting the system clock, and every time, after about 2 weeks, the system clock ends up 2 minutes in the past. I don't know why. It's such a weird thing. But remember, we're going to Dry Arabia now. Dry Arabia can be really fast because Dry Arabia, because it's a circular design, you have 2 close players and 2 further away players. You tend to get clashes early on. So you would see teams, instead of them drafting full cav comps, which is more typical in something like Rocky River, you'll see them leaning into like a 2-2 comp, right? Because they have front-facing players and retracted players. So like, for example, Ibids and Japanese here. Well, actually, Ibids and French. So you can put Ibids and French in the pocket positions, which is further back. And then Japanese, because they rush castle, yes, they're vulnerable, but they're very good at hunkering down, so they get away with it. And H3 can now play a feudal aggressive role. On the other side, English are going to be your longbow spammers, or you can play Abbey of Kings and go longbows anyway. French and Ibid should be retracted. Mongol should be flank forward player as well. So yeah, I mean, look at these drafts. If this is the Abbey of Kings build, I really like me and Micah's team. I hope we get to see the Dervish this time. I think it's very valuable to have. Even more so if the English player decides to go for longbows. I think why people avoid the Dervish play is because in a 4v4, it feels very easy to just slip and lose one of those irreplaceable units from Feudal Age. And the reality is when you're playing Ibids in a team game, you don't immediately have the justification off the back of that to say, I'm going to rush castle. You have to continue to play the Age and wait. Okay, 1 second, because I think... Oh, by the way, little heads up. I don't know if they'll be able to do it, but if anyone did buy Protein Works this weekend, just gone or the one previously, and you spent over £30, remember to send me a Discord message with a screenshot of your order summary, because we were doing an offer where you get a £10 code for either Xbox, PlayStation, or Steam. I know the deadline closed for that, and I submitted whoever told me, but if there happens to be someone else who didn't tell me, send it across to me, and I'll message them to see if it's still possible. But guys, on top of that, definitely take advantage of the Protein Works. If we get good sales, they keep renewing. If we get really good sales, they renew at an even higher price. So it's a way that you guys can get something back while still helping me out. If you guys haven't looked at them yet, we can do it together. I don't know what is coming. If I can spell it. Yeah. I clearly haven't had enough of the nootropics today. I need to wake up. I was typing everything wrong there. So, yeah, these guys are really cool. This one I highly recommend. This is the banana milkshake one. The banana milkshake one is... Mwah. Actually, I haven't got the whey protein one of this, but I do of the whey protein extreme. Actually, it's not the whey protein extreme one. I think it's the whey protein clear. I have the ice peach tea. If anyone is, like, working out, they need that, like, whey protein intake, 100% recommend these guys. I think I have the clear diet one. Which, yeah, peach iced tea. Mwah. Dude, it's peak. It's really good. I remember, like, I smelled it. I was like, that doesn't smell great. And then I drank it. And it's like, you know, sometimes when you have something, the taste and the smell profile are completely separate. It has that effect. It's really, really good. I actually want to try the orange and mango because I'm a big mango fan. Watermelon breeze sounds pretty good as well. But yeah, I've been drinking consistently. Like, every time I'm streaming, you guys, what you'll see me drink are either the breakfast meals to start my day, which are really great to start the day on an empty stomach. Or I've been going for the meal replacements, which are great for people on diets, but also just great for gamers because when you game, like, you don't want to have to get off and go cook something. So you can just shake, and play. That's the beauty of it. So yeah, be sure to check those out if you haven't already, guys. Links are down in the panels below, or if you just put !ProteinWorks, it'll also pop up. But yeah, back onto the games, because we've still got one epic game left, and then one huge epic announcement, which will eclipse the epicness that we've seen here so far. That may be too many epics. I may have set too high of an expectation here. Don't care. To the moon and back and beyond. We don't do things small around here. Is this series upper or lower bracket? This is a show match, my friend. 120 buckaroos on the line for just 3 games of Age of Empires 4. Full stop. Whew. LAN tournament? Striker, if you'd like to just send $30,000 into my bank account, we can talk about that. And I'd also still need to find a lot more money. Nice, nice. Striker's going to be my sugar daddy. We've done it. All right, guys. They're getting in the lobby now, so you should be ready to go in just a sec. Bitcoin millionaire? You better be. You've said it now, so it better not be a lie. Are you still playing regularly, Striker? I feel like you've been a bit intermittent, right? Because you've been playing Age of Mythology, right? It should just be Striker on here, isn't it? You don't even show up, mate. Oof. Start playing some AoE4 recently. Pog. Yeah, because you've taken a bit of a long hiatus, right? I think, yeah, I remember you played a few games last season, but like before that, you've been inactive for, was it like 3 seasons or something? I think you came back for the free-for-all tournaments. Wait, was that why you came back? I haven't really been following Outback Octagon that closely. What, was Mr. Striker in here? Sag. You were in the last one, right? I think you were in 002. I mean, I think it kind of makes sense you weren't invited to 003, right? Because, like, if you've taken a break, it kind of makes sense. Don's a little surprising, because I don't think Don's occasionally been playing games, but he's been a bit more chill recently, right? Wait, Mareka's in it? I didn't know about this. Okay, that's brilliant. I actually didn't know Mareka was playing. Oh, they got some of the ladies. Pepina Pig and Lorelli as well. That's really cool. I love that they done that. That's really, really cool. Wait, did they not get Faye? Oh, yeah, they did get Faye, yeah. Faye with the 1 point. Maggot Eye only. Dude, I can already tell you what it would be like with Faye. She, like, if she streamed her perspective, you just hear it load in, no Mongols, she'd be like, well, I didn't get Maggot Eye, so what's the point? There are many people in there that don't play much these days. I guess it's the not notoriety. Let's make it sound sinister. I guess it's the familiarity. Like, in fairness, I can get it from an invite perspective. People that are at least still quite known in the community. No offense to you, but I think you know what I mean. Like, right, Striker, because you play other games as well. Like, I guess the people you're referencing is like what? Avali? Core, but Core's been playing a bit more again. Avali makes maps for the game still. Don Artie has been a little bit missing, but obviously his meme shenanigans are known throughout. Matisse has been fairly active. Zerton maybe the bit of the question mark, because I think Zerton is like now going full-time Age of Myth. And then obviously Vortex, but like Vortex is familiarity. Wait, is he with... Wait, Vortex is with Fox? When did that happen? Huh? Anyone else see this? I didn't know about this. Was there even an announcement for this? Huh. Yeah, I didn't even hear about that. Maybe I'm just living under a rock. But yeah, not doing that like shame you like your involvement strike, but I'm like, I think you get where I'm coming from, right? Like, it's more either active people or people that are like have been known for a long period. But hopefully, man, I'd like to see you back in these more, man. It was I loved watching you in the early days. So fingers crossed, we'll be able to see more of you in the future. And there's plenty of AoE4 coming up, right? Also, I hear. Inactive on the esports ladder? Yeah, which makes sense. Like, they use the new esports ladder, I think, for a lot of them. Who's this Striker fella? I never heard about him. Hey, he's secretly Cristiano Ronaldo, the striker, Big Pog. Which was the announcement? It hasn't been made yet. It's going to be made after this game. Ooh, which adds to the hype. See what I mean with Dry Arabia, though? Like, it spawns you in a circle. Much better dynamic. Although this Mongol player is feeling lonely. Chill, bro. All right, 1 second. Let's do predictions. Oh, I love that. It's ballsy because you're in a you French mirror, right? But you're on different sides of the map. So let me set up the predictions for you guys. You little gambaholics. Oh, wow. 100% of the predictions were wrong last game. Even before, that's one person, and now they feel like I've mocked them. One's in chat if you were that one person. It's okay. It's like, you wear that as a badge of honor. There's no shame in it. Oh, dear. It's been a good day. 1 second. Oh. A little deflation. Nah, it's okay. You win some bets, you lose some bets. You know what they say? 85% of gamblers quit before they make it big. All right, please calm down. No. Don't do that. Instead of like going to the roulette table now, just give me the money. Or go to the roulette table, double your money, and then give me half the money. Either or, I'm not responsible for the outcomes. I'm going to take the typical Twitch streamer approach and say, it's not my fault if you made the wrong choice. Even if I told you to make the choice. All right, let's get ready to get underway. I don't think we've got any early rush plays. There was no need to rush into it. Actually, wait, do we? Where is he going? I've started doing this recently, and I'm actually a really big fan of it, where we just don't jump into the cast at minute 0. It's kind of pointless. And wait, what? I just realized. Oh, wow, that's really weird. I was looking, like, am I alone in this? You would think west and east, right? It's north and south. I had this the other day where I got baited and thought it was north and south, and it was west and east. It's so weird that the game can do this. I also don't think it needs to do this, right? Because like it makes sense in 1v1s because the position can be slightly different. But in team games, it's like when you spawn in, you know where the enemies are, right? Because you know where your teammates are. It's not like Frizzy and Marshes where it could be a 50-50 like flip on which way it spawns. Ayabiz with over 100% appearance rate in this series. That's right, just getting picked double time. Welcome back, one and all, to this exciting game in this $120 show match between Team America and Team Vietnam. And I just done those two the wrong way around because, don't get confused, it's actually North versus South. Which, there's a joke to be made there about Vietnam, but I'm going to avoid it. We've already made one too many this series. Fun one, though. We've got Japanese coming out again for WAM. HRE this time in the hands of the Americans. And actually, like, so I think HRE so far has been on the winning team and the losing team once, respectively. So not an OP Civ in this setting. Ayabids, I believe, has been present on winning teams only, but hasn't featured in every game. However, Abbas is their cousin have instead. And Mongols, I believe, are 1-1 in appearances. French is just always there. So like their stats are going to be pretty much 50-50. I'd be surprised if we ever like see when we ever see team games where French aren't present. If you're talking about like a very open map with a lot of breadth to it, French is just an obvious pick. Because a few knights can just completely unravel the enemy team's plan. So, what did we get in terms of wings here? It looks like... Wait, was this legit? Huh? Am I seeing that right? Did Puppy Paw just do... Oh, thank God. Oh my God, I was about to panic. I thought he'd gone for advancement wing in Feudal. Guys, it's happening. The Canadians believe in teams and 1v1s. A European, non-European, am aligned, my boys. I believe in this. Guys, this is like having the Abbey of Kings effect. It's the heal. It's really smart. And it's going to give them what they should need to maybe deal with these initial spearmen, which is quite problematic right now, as it seems to be a blocker to the gathering for Jigglypuff. Yeah, he has a big problem here, right? He can only afford one more knight, so he needs to be very efficient about this. The double dervish could allow for that. However, more spears are on the way. Vuvavan. Oi, 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 he never stopped. He's calmed down a little bit for the tech up. Actually, has he? No, he's just non-stop pumping it. He's slowly teching up, but he's keeping spearman production going. And now the Desert Raider is here as well, which makes this so much harder. This could be a really fast one because the pressure isn't just in this base. It's coming into this base as well. A ballsy move out of Kyo. Kyo is trying to run by all the way across to Mr. Munch's base. Intriguing choice here because historically HRE can annihilate the English because of the movement speed, the better economy. However, the tricky part is at any stage, a few French knights could arrive here to assist. And what they've done is they've kind of put Mr. Munch between a rock and a hard place. He now can't build Spearmen because of the Lombos, but he kind of needs Spearmen if he approaches the north side because of the French player. Oh, that's so horrible for him. Wham also isn't participating because welcome to every Japanese player ever. He needs castle. So this is full pressure 4v3, right? French knights are prowling around. Look at those Japanese targets. Looks like the spearmen are finally going to be pushed back, but Jigglypuff really far behind here. 2 knights to soon to be 5. An unhealthy position to find yourself in. Means that if they start diving, for example, into Mr. Munch's base, you can't assist, right? You actually need to now wait for your Japanese castle rushing player to participate. Participation soon to be on the way, by the way. Vuvavan, finally at the 7-minute mark, has decided to reach Feudal Age. He only built a few spearmen, guys. It's only a few. Hasn't got many sheep, though, which is a bit problematic. Does have the deer nearby. He needs to avoid massing pastures here, because while massing pastures can work out quite nicely, say, on a map like Rocky Canyon, or Rocky River, rather, where things are a little bit more dragged out, a little bit harder to harass. On maps like Dry Arabia, that type of transition can leave one of your players out to dry. Kyo. Looks like he's trying to pressure here, but I love this from Puppy Paw. Desert Raiders. Tricky to kill, but oh, the counterplay. Orange brings in more. Dervish is trying to heal, but they're going to get left behind. Needs to be very careful. Remember, they can get cleaved down very quickly, although the bonus damage should be there. Still going to be 13 base, and he snipes one. Now, this is really important. The difference between the Imam play and the Dervish play isn't just the mobility, it's the fact that just because it's one of them doesn't mean it's GG end of play. Remember, the Dervish can kiss his own boo-boos better, just as well as his teammates. All right, what do you think, guys? At this point in the game, 1's if you think Team Vietnam are going to win, 2's if you believe in the Americans. Because I haven't even checked the predictions yet. The predictions were 63% America and then 37% Vietnam. So a lot closer, actually. I think the closest of any of the games. For good reason. Both of these teams have fought their hearts out, and we've seen 2 very different types of games, right? Like, we've seen the comeback from an ugly position in one Swift Strike. We've seen the back and forth comeback scenarios of game number 1, where I believe the control of the game switched hands 4 times. Technically, 8 people vote for America. I mean, it's American voting. You never really know how many people voted. I'm sorry. I'm on one today. So mutual goal gathering. Jigglypuff got pressured out of his own base, right? So they had to shift across into the base of red. So just kind of living together now. Spearman Desert Raiders are going to keep Jigglypuff contained, though. Wow. What's his presence looking like? He's going into the Mount Samurai. Can be a bit tricky when you're up against these camels, though. But at the same time, you don't want to just rush into Onimusha. I think overall, Onimusha would make maybe a lot more sense. Yeah, I like that we're actually now 10 minutes in the game and it doesn't feel like it's falling apart. I was a bit worried that this final game was going to be an easy-peasy win for the Vietnamese. Their tempo was looking really solid. They basically starved the French player off the goal, which is just a GG win condition. And then they had the kind of snowball effect of Lombos coming. It kind of felt like Lumber wasn't there to support that play, though. If I'm not mistaken, he kept looking for a dive onto Wham when they probably should have been teaming up to attack the HRE player. the reality of what's happening is like you've gone for a full feudal aggro, even Dark Age aggro as Vietnam, while your opponents went for a Castle Age play, right? So they can only be free players participating. So with that being the case, it makes sense to 2-in with Mobile Cav on the west side, and then 2-in with 1 static on the east, because the east side is not going to get assistance. Instead, we now have a later phase of the game, and we have Mounted Samurai able to start proving dominant here. Archers in the HRE do have that gap closed to 1.38 movement speed. The Mounted Samurai cannot be dented whatsoever. And Kyo at risk of losing the entire army. No assistance coming either. You notice the Knights don't want to play. It's 4 versus 3 Mounted Samurai. With the deflective armor, you do practically no damage here. Diving continues. I love that break off. Peels it back, tries to get out of range of the Lombos, turns for the assault. Veteran Royal Knights will fare a little bit better, but remember guys, Mounted Samurai stop you from getting that initial damage burst. You miss out on the lance, you miss out on the damage bonus. That's what makes it so hard. It's what's made Japanese one of French and Jones' hardest matchups, right? Because if you're allowed to go to Castle Age, this issue rears its ugly head. I have been hearing recently of a feudal all-in type play from the French, where they essentially go for like a pseudo outpost rush and they dive your base. Haven't been able to catch many of those games. I believe Krakeny was the one peddling those goods, but you know, when someone peddles crack, I wouldn't always trust it at first light. These Desert Raider numbers. 20-14. Puppy Paw has fallen behind. Yeah, the Dervish play hasn't really paid off, right? I mean, he was up against, what? Was it just the Desert Raider? Yeah. Which is surprising, because I was saying earlier that I think that Dervish is better than Desert Raider. In fairness, it was more nuanced than that. It wasn't just a case of they were mirroring each other. We did have the added issue of essentially Puppy Paw 2v1ing for a while, as Jigglypuff didn't have anything to participate with, right? So I think that muddied the waters. I still really do rate the Dervish play. I think this game just became a little bit discombobulated, so we haven't really seen the impact of that tech choice. Isn't this good enough to keep the Magdite at bay? So they have done a good job of actually reversing the defense, right? Like a few minutes ago, it was all pressure coming from Vietnam into the Americans. Now the Team America are the ones shoving into the enemy side of the map. And that's really important because they're taking advantage of that to then tech up behind this. Mr. Munch now in Castle, and a lot of relics up for grabs here, folks. Lumber is the only player on the other side in Age 3. A French player is not likely to ever rush relic gathering in a team game. Well, if you're worried about the communist gold, is this some kind of like, we're safer together type logic? If a knight comes, we can all try and stab him and die. Oh my goodness. Doing it with the gold again. Harassment has been really good from Vuvavan with just a handful of spears. The Magadite transition just hasn't really been there though. And the good news, at least, is, you know, on the other side, you haven't got a Lombo player, right? So you don't have to worry about spamming mass spears. A Wyman Puppy Paw from Texas? No. Why? Does this look like the Alamo? No, I'd say there's a previous game that had more of that feeling. No, they are the Canadians. So they get called Team America, but it really means Team NA. But when you say Team America, the song plays in your head, right? Oh my god, Desert Raiders, big hit here. The villagers. Puppy Paw, look at the difference now. 27 eco to 46! What an attack! And now the follow-up wave, the Spearman moving in. Remember, these Desert Raiders, any stage go melee form and punish as well. Unbelievable move here. They're punishing the grid, right? It's triple castle. Puppy Paw hasn't tried to make that move yet, but it looked like he was getting ready. But this dive in might make him smushed more than spaghetti. I don't know what you're meant to do here if you're Puppy Paw. Like, you've been sold out. You've been sold up river, right? The two players that can assist you are on the opposite side of the map. You're double cav over here against mass Desert Raider spears. It doesn't get worse than this. You need the east side to do something quick. Lombos are not going to be able to dive into the HRE base. We're probably going to start seeing more static emplacement soon, as relics should start to get hoovered home. And Wham, it's kind of crazy, actually. In a game against Desert Raiders, he's been able to mount Samurai. Most of the time, you have to go Onimusha, but there's no reason to here, especially against the Lombo threat. make you wonder in some ways if it would have been better, because no one is really contesting these speeds right now. These are going to commit in. Veteran Knights try to defend, but remember, it's not just the counter unit against them, it's also the reduction of the damage here. Mounted Samurai are going to arrive, but it comes at a pretty penny. Several of those green French Knights do go down. They do get the mop up, though. Behind this, Orange does have 12 more Desert Raiders. He's playing pocket resources, so plenty more on the way. We do not have a tech choice yet coming out of them. East side, we do, however, have a big dive. Teal and Purple make their move. Mr. Munch has barely any army right now. At the same time, Puppy Paw is a non-starter. Small economy, zero military. And we're really testing the limits of Mounted Samurai here. Lombos don't directly count them, but he's now starting to scale crossbows. And also, these Lombos have been vetted up. So pretty high base damage, right? 10 per strike means the Mounted Samurai can't trickle in like this. And it's starting to feel like Wham is responsible for too much. This is the thing, right? Like, it's kind of like when you take this choice to go castle, when you decide you're going to be the greedy player, there is an emphasis on you delivering back what you take from the team twice-fold. However, that's not the way basic maths works. You're still one player now trying to scale eco and military. And so much damage has been done, it's not you now trying to wipe one of your teammates' bums and change their nappy. You have to wipe two teammates' asses and change them. And makes me kind of glad that I didn't have twins in the end, because the more I think about that, that sounds like a nightmare. Like, do you just get efficient at cleaning one with each hand? This does make me envious of Stitch because he had 4 hands. Stitch would have been a great babysitter. No, don't finish that statement. Nice trying to break through Wham. He's running out of places to hide here. He's spread too thin. He's on 3 different locations, right? So now you're going to have to shift back east to defend yourself. And then what happens to red? Well, for now, his Desert Rays will be able to hold back the tide. It's only a small one for the time being. However, yellow is on the way with more spears against French Knights. That is going to get ugly. Goal getting blocked again. Puppy Paw losing a few more villages. The attack speed arrow does get activated because nothing else will be useful here. These are veteran Royal Knights. They will trade better than they normally would. However, he has softened up the target. Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there, though. I think what needed to happen is you needed orange there with at least one of these for the Camelanese. Would have been enough to reduce this count heavily. Instead, Jigglypuff gets a really good trade and a much-needed one there for Team America. Numbers still not favoring them, though. Almost double the military population for the Vietnamese. And not just that, look at the economy lead now. About 70 ahead. Infrastructure also starting to fail Mr. Munch. I mean, he's trying to get mass men-at-arms together, but this feels horrible against veteran Royal Knights. I imagine we've got cantled saddles as well, as it's just such an easy tech at this point. Yeah, which means, remember, you're getting plus 10 damage instead of plus 3, which equates with your attack speed to like an extra, I believe it's 30 damage compared to standard Knights in the first 5 seconds of assault. It's pretty ludicrous how much of a difference that makes. Because remember, you can do the lance attack, clop, 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 and then debuff. Of course, you need to make sure you're attacking the men-at-arms and not the samurai. Speaking of samurai, a little bit of a panic micro there. Kyo, he actually pulled back the lombos instead of just pulling back the crossbows, but it doesn't matter. Knights have now arrived. They have to back up. Tech ups are completing. All players on the Vietnamese squad now up in Castle Age. It's diving the choke point a bit ugly. This is exactly how Wham cannot afford to fight. There's so much miscommunication here as well. It feels like Mr. Munch goes in, Wham walks away. Wham goes in, Mr. Munch walks away. They finally just commit to the idea of an A-click, but it might just get them killed. Yeah, this looks done. They're the last standing armies. Look at the military count in total. This is an absolute rout in the final game. It took 3 to get him across the line, but Team Vietnam are in full control of this one. Full aggro beats greed. It's something that's been drilled into us in the last few weeks in team play, and I'm glad that the AoE4 meta is finally getting there. I remember team games when this game first came out. TC boom up the wazoo, do nothing else. Look at this game now. Blood must be spilled. And Team America are going to be the ones cut the deepest. GG comes out. Your $120 America-Vietnam showdown. Team Vietnam takes it in 3. Well played to Team Vietnam. That was sick. So, do we announce a few minutes early? Strokes chin. GG, Mr. Munch. Props to Mr. Munch for taking a diverse role, actually, from Game 1 to Game 2. Pretty much the walking mat and then essentially the eco boomer. Announce? Ooh, we could announce. Do you guys like announcements? Do you like big, fat, stinking announcements? More hype announcements than you'll find anywhere else on this day in Age of Empires, I think. All right. I want some guesses first on what you think this announcement could be. Speculate. Anticipate, speculate. All the great eights. You're having triplets, Jesus Christ. No, because like that's even worse. I only have 2 hands. And I'm not trying to wipe a butt with my hair, right? Because you'd be like, 1 each. No, not doing it. You got a new system? Well, there might be something cooking with that. No, Sherman, we don't say that here. That's Protein Works. You should buy some. Click the link down below. Killer Pigeon code will get you an extra 10% off, by the way. Hot dog! I don't know. I've been watching too much Mickey Mouse. You're pregnant? Whoa! Whoa! Is that a timeout, knock leave? I've been losing weight, I think. All the climbing I'm doing? Well, actually, I did skip climbing today. That's kind of sinful. Give you your points. All right, I'll give you your points. And then you can time yourself out, right? I think that's how that works. So, Vietnam, GG to them. Also, really big shout out, by the way, to Clearman, who organized this. Clearman has been doing the team tournament games, and the Field of Blood team tournament games are going to resume on the 28th, he said to me, right? So next week, is it 28th or sooner? Yeah, 28th is Monday. So that will be something we'll be casting next week, because we'll get back to casting those. Lower bracket will also happen on a more open schedule, but I know the upper brackets are penciled in. So yeah, plenty of tournament action to come. But, oh, do I get it ready? How do I do this? How do I show it? How do I explain it? I think what we need, first of all, one sec. Let me get out of the summary lobby because my whole system is lagging because team games are a nightmare on the PC. So I've been working on something for a while. No, you don't even bother redeeming your push-ups because I'm not doing them right now. This is serious time. It's big. Bigger than my muscles would be from your push-ups. All right. I have been working my ass off to bring this together. It has been a few months in the making. I've helped out a lot in the esports scene. I've done a lot on the sides. I've worked pretty much every single EGC event. I've worked Red Bull World LoL. We've ran show matches. We've brought together players on pre-seasons. We've done everything we can to try and help the scene. And if this sounds like a quitting speech, I've got bad news for you. It's not. Instead, what it is the level up. We done it, boys and girls. Officially sponsored by, Microsoft. I probably should have created a video, but I had so many things in the backlog that I'm just going to flash this up on a screen. That's right. KP's midweek muster is kicking off in November. I can't even do that without changing. I don't know why it's so brutal. 30 weeks of tournament action. Every single week, $300 will be dispersed to the top 4 ranking players. 32 players in a single elimination format. Best of 3s all the way through to best of 5 semifinals, and then finals will be a best of 7. Midweek as well. That's right. No, I've seen everyone. I've seen Age of RTS, Drongo, EDC, whoever else coming in. They want the weekends. The prime time is taken. I looked and I said, where's the gap? What's missing here? What can we do to improve the scene? Weekdays. Open scheduling formatting with soft cutoff dates. We will have a single elimination format. Let me show you that on the screen because that is a little bit of a nightmare to look at, actually. But it's going to be like this. So we will have the round of 32, round 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. And we are going to have cutoff points for each of these. So as we go through the week, there is going to be individual cutoff points for each of these. Let me just pull that up for you guys now. In fact, I'll put it full screen because I think it's better that way. So there will be cutoff points, soft cutoff points. So players can schedule ahead of time, after time, whatever fits. But by the end, and I don't know why it just done that. That is very weird. You have to have completed all of your games. That is really weird. I don't know why it's done that. Let me just... All right, I don't have it shown there. But yeah, so basically, we will set a date throughout the week by which you have to have played your round of 32, your round of 16, your quarterfinals. Beyond that, go ham. Play it whenever you want. I will cast it on this channel Mondays through to Fridays. We'll be catching all those games each and every time. The whole idea with this is because people aren't always full-time. I didn't want to create an atmosphere where every week players had to allocate an entire day. I wanted them to have the freedom to say, I've got 2 hours today. I'm going to play my best of 3 series against Louis or whatnot. So this is a really big thing I think that's been missing from the scene on multiple layers. I think for a start, there's nothing going on in the midweek. I wanted to help fix that, right? Big shout out to the Vietnamese side, which have also been doing a lot of that recently. On top of that, I wanted to provide a training ground, a baseline, because something that has really been missing in the Age of Empires 4 scene is, I think, a steady foundation. We have these big epic tournaments hosted by Mareka, hosted by EGC, hosted by Red Bull. But what we don't have is the in-between. Quite often, a lot of you players out there that are aspiring, that are trying to become the next beastie or whatever you're trying to be, you only get to play maybe 1-2 series maximum in tournament, and then everything goes quiet for several weeks. I don't want that to continue to be your case, and I don't know why this is... Let me go ahead, boom. I don't want that to continue to be your case. I want you to be able to actually improve. So that's a really big driving point, a really big focus point on why I've done this, is every single week, only 16 players will be safe. So if you go out in the first round, you are out, but you will requalify based on your ladder placement. Not your ATR, not your ELO ladder, because once again, that feeds an elitist rhetoric of like, if you're good, great, but if you're trying to improve, you have no way of improving. I don't want that for you guys. I don't want you to have to wait 4 months for another tournament to maybe get better ELO. Instead, this is going to be a training ground where we will invite 16 players based on their pub season ranked placement. That's how we'll circle new players in every single week. That way, it also means if you go early in the round, you've now got something to grind on the ladder for, a reason to come and grind on those ladders publicly to get back in. So this is a nice balance between you guys being active on the ladder and then still getting the value of essentially like a scrim environment where we're paying you as well, right? And I think it's really important because these type of regularity, there's a big difference between being a pub pro and being a actual pro, because drafting is a whole different ballgame. Any player in the chat right now will press 1 to this. Like, there's a huge difference between playing on the ladder and then getting into a draft and thinking about the elegance of how you draft, what maps you're going to do. We're going to provide all that. Not just that. I know, it just keeps going. This is the perfect playground for new maps. We already showcased this. We already gave a preview. Things like Atoll, for example, which are going to be appearing in an EGC tournament coming up. Guess where that thought came from? Guess where that came from? This is another inspiration point for map creators to get them active because their maps are going to be featuring. The goal here is to rotate 2 new maps in every week is our goal that we're aiming for. And we are going to try to bring in a nice balance. It's not always going to be water maps. It's going to be varied. I believe Chum will help me in this. Chum, who's been invaluable behind the scenes setting everything up, by the way. I believe we just settled on, it was Atoll, and I think, I don't want to say it wrong. We went for, he'll correct me now. I don't think we went Pigeons Valley. He'll correct me in a sec. But Atoll is going to be there. I absolutely said Atoll had to be there. I think we set that as actually our starting map for the first week. But yeah, this is going to be going for 30 weeks here, guys. So it's going to be crazy. That should take us up to about June, July of 2025. Just show us the hub. That's true. Let's go to the hub. Let's actually hop into the details. But yeah, it's a very long format. I'm either crazy. I think I said a few days ago, I honestly said to my partner, I see this as a make or break of this channel within AoE 4. Like, you know, obviously I'm trying to get to a stage where I can make a living. If this doesn't grow us to a point where I can make a living and things like are great so that I can provide back to the scene, but also provide my family, I don't know what's going to do it. So like, this is me going, yes, like money where mouth is, let's commit to this, because obviously we've got the assistance of World's Edge on the funding for the prize pools, but I'm still going to have to like reach into my own pocket to fund everything else in between. But there is already the hub up, so go across to it if you're looking to sign up to these. So all the details around formatting seeding is going to be on here. We are offering free scheduling, so there will be a listing of when you have to do your games by. We have set up a crab fit as well to collect and capture your times. So I think the cutoff was going to be, I think we said by Saturday we went round of 32, and then Sunday preferably round of 16, and then we work through so that semi-finals can be played by latest probably Wednesday, and then the grand finals for each of these is going to be on Thursday. Every single Thursday, grand finals. We're locking in the fixed time right now. We're polling the players on what they prefer to be the go-to time, but we're looking at between, I think it's 15 GMT and 17 GMT is the starting time for those best of sevens. So absolutely crazy, man. Like I'm so glad we could bring this together. Really big shout out to Toombs, to Lily, Akame, all of them for helping bring this together. We are going to, of course, I'll have all the standard rulings and whatnot in here. But yeah, the hopes I'm having is this really helps with people that have been struggling with scrims, struggling with getting from that amateur to like the true pro role. And it provides the baseline, which I think is also going to inform amazing stories in the entire stream, in the entire ecosystem. Words for a second there. Sorry, I read Luke saying stream. Yes, it's on my stream. So grand finals will be on my stream. I will be aiming to cast as many of the games as I can that happen throughout the week, because of course I stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday basically every week, almost without exception. So this will be, like, this channel right here will be your go-to place for all your midweek esports action, to be honest with you. So really excited for this. And we are going to be inviting based on the top 16. I think we have confirmation in that almost every single one of the people that are listed top 16 right now. Let's have a look. So I can confirm Beastie is in. So Beastie, Poppy Poor are in. Wham is in. B is in. Anatan is in. Dumu is in. Louis is in. Kiljadi is in. And then obviously there's a little bit of a gap here because some aren't. CSO, the wonderful Crackety. Lash is going to be there. Keo is going to be there. We've got Corvinus, Elyona, and Myriad. So those are going to be your starting... Oh, wait. Did I click at some point? I think I did. Those are going to be your starting 16 that are invited based on the tournament ELO placement. So 2, 4... Now double check. 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, I can't count. So those are our 16. And the others are welcome to come in. We have an interesting formatting for how we're going to invite them back. So basically, like once we turf 16 out, we're going to be bringing in new ones, and it's going to be based on the ladder players. I think we've got details on that in here, if I'm not mistaken. Chum can quickly point me to the right direction if I'm an idiot. But is it in here, Chum? Respect and cooperation. But yeah, we will, like, the cool thing about this, like I said, is the fact that we're bringing people in. And there's what I was talking about. So round of 32 play by Friday, round of 16 by Saturday, quarterfinals by Sunday, semifinals by Monday. We might shift this a bit. I reckon, what do you reckon, Jake? I don't know if it's too much of a nightmare. I'm thinking we can probably give them one more day on each. Because then that means semi should be done by Tuesday, and then there's breathing room. But we can try this to start with. I think a big part of the fort. We don't have 8 days. Oh, but we have Wednesday as a buffer if they do it Tuesday. I think the reason why we settled on this to begin with is that basically the logic here, guys, is weekend, right? So weekend is when people can play. We'll see how that goes. Like the cool thing about this, with it being a 30-week format, is that we're going to get a lot of time to kind of evolve the process. It's not just going to be like etched in stone. By the way, I feel really weird having no background music, so let me just go ahead and get Age of Empires. Don't DMCA me. Let's put some music on. So yeah, we're going to have... Jesus, a bit loud. Damn, that would have been perfect for the intro. So yeah, we're going to have 30 weeks to adapt this. So the whole idea is that I'm not expecting everything to be right straight away. We want to see what the players interact with. Oh, sorry, the bracket begins. You're right. Yeah, no, this is correct. This is, yeah. From Monday, you're right. Yeah. So it's like from the next day. Yeah. So I was reading that the wrong way because I'm an idiot. And I haven't slept much the last few days. Kids will do that to you. And I've been awake since 5 a.m. But yeah, these rounds will start at this point. So semi-finals will open on Monday, but you can play it Tuesday, Wednesday. But you need to be done, obviously, by Thursday because we're going to be playing on the Thursday. But yeah, we've got 16 or 17 GMT there because we are now talking to the players about what they prefer. So you guys should let us know. You guys will want to join my Discord if you're players, especially !Discord. Get in there because a lot of the communication will happen in there. If you're not a player, still be in there because there's a great place full of wonderful people. It's a nice little community we're building up there. But yeah, this is my next 30 weeks. And I'm praying, I'm hoping it pays off. Really big shout out to everyone who have faith in me. So World's Edge basically gave KP $9,000. He turns that into 30 weeks of tournament. Yeah, I mean, dude, like you don't get much better bang for buck, right? I think the really big driving point for me as well, I should probably highlight that this is going to affect ATR. So it's not just about the money. It's not just about the improvement. I mentioned that we were trying to ungatekeep S-tier tournaments because in a way, unintentionally, they become gatekeeped in the fact that most like the main tournaments are S-tier. So like, how do you get into the better seedings if you're always round 1 against beasties or whatever? And people are going to go get good. But yeah, like within reason, right? Like, should you be there versus be seed 16 or something? This is going to help fix that. So ACR farming, regular small prize pools, regular practice, a good way of encouraging people to use one account, not Smurf, be on the ladder, because each week to get back in, you're going to need to use that ladder. I don't know what else I could have ticked with this event. I feel like I hit every box required. I'm so hyped, man. So first event is going to start November the 1st. So players will likely start playing their games on that Friday. We'll catch them, and then we'll come back after the weekend and catch a bunch of them on Monday, Tuesday. So there'll be a nice mixture of games caught live and games caught on my channel after they've happened. So, yeah. I think that covers everything. Map draft, first series is going to be... Okay, that's not map draft. I'm blind. I'm an idiot. Still hasn't told me. I think it's a toll. Thank you, Tedstop. Appreciate the sub. And I'm just like, dude, I'm so excited about it. I'm like, information overload. Is there anything I missed? I think we got all of it. Thank you, Chim. That's right. I need to click through. You can tell I don't use Start GG a lot. I let my wonderful admins do it, and then I just do the casty man thing. But here you go. First map pool is already announced. So we're going to have Atoll, Coastal Cliffs, Cliffside, Frisian Marshes, Gorge, Pigeons Valley, and Socotra. Now, I know that this got some flame, got some shtick on other streams that were checking out the map seeds. Pigeons Valley is very different in 1v1s compared to team games. Because team games, you spawn in the corners. 1v1s, you spawn in the center, so you can be attacked from either side. I do still think this is probably going to be the most macro-focused map of the entire roster, but I think that's fine to have one, right? Like, most of these are not macro-focused. Atoll, Socotra isn't, Gorge can be, Frisian is a mix, Cliffside is a mix, Coastal Cliffs is a mix. So I think we've done a really good job with this initial pool. And based on the plays, I think I said we're gonna get very peculiar in some ways with the way that we do map pools, in that what I've said is we might review that the maps that get selected most might be one of the maps that gets removed. The reason we're doing this is because I want players to get familiar with new environments, not just get dry Arabia and repeat. But I also think it's great for map designers to gather data to improve their maps so they're ready for S-tier tournaments. So yeah, that is everything on it. I think I'm probably going to actually have to clip this down on the recording and upload it on YouTube. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe there because a lot of these games will be uploaded there. If you guys are looking to cast these, that's fine. I'm expecting some people are going to want to cast these. Just make sure you follow and adhere to all the things. Make sure you're referencing the channel Killer Pigeon. We have got some assets as well that you guys can use. So yeah. Ah, dude. I can't believe it's kicking off in just a week. And this will be my life, not my whole life. I'll still probably like cast other events and whatever, obviously. But this will be my life for 30 weeks. Little like thing as well, there might be times where we have to take a short break of a week or whatever. If that does happen, we already have a backup plan in place, and that's that the the prize pool will roll over. So a $300 week will become a $600 week. We're thinking of things like Christmas, for example, because people probably aren't going to want to play over Christmas, going to want to spend time with families, and we don't want to punish for that. So we'll shift it along. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think, though. I'm excited for this. If you're watching the YouTube side, like I said, subscribe. Make sure you've got me followed on Twitch as well so you can catch these games live. I'll catch you in the next one. But if you're watching live, we can talk about this more. Because this did... I mean, actually, I feel like I shouldn't have cut off before going. I am scared and excited. I think that this could be huge for my channel. Potentially, like, anything in life could be a miss. But maybe I'm delusional, but in my brain... I feel like I hit the mark. I feel like I found something that's really missing in Age of Empires 4. And hopefully, the community proves me right on that. Sing the Jigglypuff song? It might happen, Jiggly. Maybe. Possibly. Don't know if there's proof. Really happy that World's Edge is investing in smaller tournaments. When I asked EGC about weeklies before, they said Microsoft didn't support smaller events. I think it's about how you shape it. And also, like, Nilly has been invaluable in supporting this, right? Like, he bent over backwards to try and find something that worked. We went for a few different formats, and we landed, like, on how to, like, broadcast and execute, and we landed on this being a good choice. Like, I've said this before, Nilly never gets enough praise. He's... What's the word I'm looking for? It's where you're calculated, like, you think about it in a non-emotional way. But, like, that's not what I want to say. It's the word I'm looking for. Pragmatic. He's pragmatic, but he's also... I mean, dude, I'm going to say he's a cute kitty cat. Like, when he can find a way for it to make sense, he will go out of his way to make sense of it, right? Like, this is a guy that burnt money hosting NAC because he loves the community so much. Like, Nilly never gets enough praise. I think in the AoE4 circle as well, it's someone that, like, gets overlooked as well because he gets seen as the AoE 2 man. But that man, he goes to bat for any game. Always, dude, I've said this before, I'll say it again, I consider him like a bro for life. He's wonderful. Oh. Yes. Once again, big shout out to Choom and Akame that have also been wonderful behind the scenes. And also Cal, because I think he's going to be helping me set the overlays up a little bit so we can still use his tools. But, yeah. I'll show off the UI when it's time. Yeah, did we miss anything? Yeah, so obviously that does mean that Grand Finals, or Finals, because Grand Finals means it only works when you have upper bracket, lower bracket. Finals are going to be a play all 7, like you'll play every single map potentially, so there's no bans there. But yeah, we went for like standard Civ drafts for now, but this is another area that we could potentially innovate. Like we decided to settle on pretty much what Elite Classic used because it seems to be the best drafting format we've seen in AoE so far. But I'm not against exploring different things, and I'll probably still look to host show matches occasionally between these to test new formats, whether they're even more gimmicky, right? Yeah. You may notice, we've done everything we can to avoid India. Oh, Choom thought of it all. Yeah, also, like, dude, Choom set all this up for me. I gave him the details and he ran with it. So here you go, guys. Seeding. This is another interesting thing we're doing with seeding, by the way, to kind of mix it up a little bit, is that the way you're going to be seeded, if I zoom in there, is you'll be seeded based on a combination of the 1v1 ladder and the ATR. So the logic here is that will mix up the seeding a little bit week to week instead of keeping it stale, but it shouldn't make it so drastic that it's silly, right? In some cases, a lot of overlap, but I think like there's going to be some interesting thoughts here. Like, for example, I think Louis and Anatan are two that come to mind that are probably going to get higher seeding because of this. But that's within reason. That's within a tolerance range of where you're still getting very talented players versus very talented players. Man. And yeah, seeding deadline is closing on Wednesday each week because, bless him, Choom has to then go figure all this out ahead of time. I can't have him doing it absolute last second. Especially considering he still has obligations to real life and obligations to EGC. But yeah, prize pool split as well. 125 bucks, 75 for second place, and then 50 for third and fourth. Oh. I think that covers all the details though. Damn. What a day. What a bloody day. We had that incredible team game. Then we just had this announcement. I don't think I don't know if I can top it, man. I don't think like hopping in another game is going to top it either, right? Oof. I think what we do now, we'll probably find someone to raid. And also, like, go tell everyone about this. You know how, like, we made this the biggest success? Is having people tune into the broadcasts. My hopes with this is that it's a huge success. And Nilly and World's Edge look at it and go, wow, like, that exceeded our expectations. Let's do it again. And then also, I can approach sponsors to go, wow, we want to be involved in AoE4. Like, look at the support throughout the week. Like, this is crazy. And then hopefully, my kids can go, wow, we're able to afford nice shoes, Dad. But we'll get to that one in time. But yeah, a long journey ahead of us, guys. Like I said, you know, eventually I want to try to mix something else in with AoE4 because I like to keep it, like, robust. But this should be proof of the AoE4 commitment. 30 weeks of Age of Empires 4 action. Is it sponsored by Nilly or what? It's sponsored by World's Edge. Nilly works for World's Edge. So he helped make this possible. In-game 1v1 elo's hidden elo? No, the ones that you can see. So the ranked ladder. God. No, I'm not trying to get people to play quick match. I'm trying to do them a favor. I don't want people to have to experience Mountain Pass and repeat. Jesus. I'm not that cruel. Oh. All right. I think what we'll do... YouTube side, I'm going to end the stream now. Much love. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you'll all tune in again soon. So I'll end that there.